In a drowning accident, my husband spoke the truth as he was on the brink of death, suing Shue. I never truly loved you. If I could do it all over again, I'd rather be alone. So after being reborn, my husband proposed a breakup, and I signed without hesitation, leaving our daughter in his custody. He quickly remarried, and it wasn't until 5 years later that his white moonlight was kidnapped and severely injured, while I happened to be the expert in charge of negotiations. As I rushed to the outskirts of the kidnapping site, he blocked my path. What are you doing here? Do you think that just because Xiaonan's life is at stake, you can worm your way back into my life? The daughter beside me said disdainfully. Don't you dare mess up saving my stepmother, you liar. Get lost right now. It wasn't until the hostage was successfully rescued that the daughter reluctantly spoke to me. I understand that for the sake of my father and me, you'll do your best. My stepmother is traumatized and needs psychological counseling. My father and I allow you to come to our home to provide her with psychological treatment. I ignored her completely and took hold of my twin sons who came to pick me up. The actor ex-husband's face turned ashen in an instant, and his daughter lost control on the spot. You said you only had me, one baby, right? Where did these two little brats come from? The chief's call. Suwan. There's been a vicious kidnapping in the eastern city. The hostage is of special identity. Get here immediately. The car sped through the blockade, and from a distance, a cluster of flashing police lights and silhouettes came into view. From afar, a familiar voice reached his ears. It was his ex-husband, Gu Mingzhi, whom he hadn't seen in 5 years. If anything happens to my wife, I'll make all of you pay with your lives. He roared like a madman, his eyes bloodshot, his face contorted. If the negotiation experts don't show up soon, don't blame me for being rude. As long as the hostages are rescued, I will donate 10,000 police cars to the Public Security Bureau and directly reward the rescuers with 20 billion in cash. Beside Gu Mingzhi, our 7-year-old son Gu Xizha looked at me with undisguised disgust. Why do you keep haunting us? Are you trying to cling to my dad again? The malice in the childish voice made my heart skip a beat. Gu Mingzhi turned around, his gaze slicing through me like a knife. Suwan, who let you come? This doesn't concern you. Get lost and don't get in the way. I silently walked around him and headed toward the temporary command center. Gu Mingzhi's shout drew the attention of the police officers. The city bureau leader rushed anxiously to meet me at the entrance of the command center. Mr. Su, you're finally here. The hostage is Mr. Gu Mingzhi's wife, Yi Qing. The kidnappers are demanding 500 million in ransom. Before the words had even finished, Gu Mingzhi suddenly stepped in front of me. Suwan, don't think I don't know what you're scheming. He lowered his voice, trying to get close to me through this. Let me tell you, not a chance. All eyes turned to us in unison, and the air seemed to freeze. I took a deep breath. Mr. Gu, I am a crisis negotiation expert specially hired by the City Bureau, codenamed Nightingale. I am here on official business, a well-dressed middle-aged woman shrieked. A negotiation expert, her, Yi Qing's mother, her face contorted with rage, rushed towards me. Mingzhi, don't be fooled by her. I think she's up to no good, like a weasel paying a New Year's visit to a chicken. Chapter 2. Maybe it was her who leaked Qingqing's whereabouts. This kind of woman would do anything for revenge. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. Gustia quickly added, my dad's right. You're just trying to show off. He crossed his arms, his face full of disdain. I don't believe you're any expert. You can't even make me a decent breakfast. Memories of those days and nights spent caring for him when he was feverish, cooking nutritious meals for him, flashed through my mind. The unfamiliarity and disdain in my son's eyes sent a sharp pain through my heart. Time is of the essence. I pulled out my credentials. These are my professional qualifications. Please let me in immediately, the director tried to explain. Mr. Gu Suwan is indeed our special consultant, having successfully handled 17 crisis negotiations. Gu Mingzhi cut him off directly. Don't try to pull that stuff on me. He stepped closer to me. Disappear from my sight right now, or don't blame me for being rude. 2 bodyguards behind him took a threatening step forward. The police officers on the scene exchanged glances, none daring to speak. Seeing the despair and distrust in the hostages' families, and the disgust in my ex-husband and son's eyes, a surge of anger shot straight to my head. I clenched my teeth and decided to play my last card. 2. The kidnapper's first call suddenly came through to the command center. Prepare 500 million in cash within 5 hours, or the hostage will be collecting a corpse. The kidnapper's voice was arrogant, leaving no room for negotiation. I gripped my pen tightly, my breath almost stopping. Gu Mingzhi's cold gaze swept over me. A contemptuous curl forming at the corner of his mouth, that look seemed to say, see, you can't do anything, as useless as ever. 5 years ago, when we signed the divorce papers, he looked down on me just like this. Su-won, what else can you do besides housework? He asked me back then. You're nothing but a burden to me. His eyes still held the same disdain, only now directed at a stranger instead of his wife. I quickly jotted down key information from the kidnapper's call. Analyzing their speech patterns and psychological state. What are you sneaking around writing? A hand suddenly reached out and snatched my notebook. Yi Qing's brother crumpled the paper in his hand, his eyes blazing with fury. Are you tipping off the kidnappers? The surrounding police officers exchanged glances, yet none spoke up to defend me. Give me back my notebook, every second counts. I tried to stay calm. Gu Xizhi kicked stones at my feet. His 7-year-old face filled with the disdain taught by adults. Stop pretending, Auntie Yiqing is so nice, you must be jealous of her. That's why you wanted her to get hurt, isn't it? The words from my son cut like a knife, piercing the softest part of my heart. I once stayed up all night making kanji for him, reading bedtime stories, but now there's only estrangement and malice. Yi Qing's brother threw the notebook at me, scattering papers all over the floor. I crouched down and picked them up one by one, struggling to swallow the bitterness rising in my throat. Outside the command tent, I analyzed the call recordings alone and finally discovered the key clue. This isn't your average kidnapper, judging from the choice of words and negotiation tactics. The mastermind was likely someone with a background like a mercenary. Chapter 3. They are too professional, know how to avoid tracking, and are familiar with police procedures. The director's eyes sparkled with hope, and he immediately ordered a review of the relevant personnel files. Nonsense. Gu Mingzhi's words extinguished everyone's enthusiasm, judging the identity of the kidnapper based on a few words. Not a single word she says can be trusted. My professional judgment was completely dismissed by his casual remark. The officers withdrew their newly kindled trust, their eyes turning suspicious again. I stood in the corner, feeling the malice and doubt from all directions. I'm the most professional person here, yet I'm treated like a clown. Gu Mingzhi suddenly walked towards me and cornered me against the wall. Su-won, I order you to use your silver tongue to negotiate with the kidnappers. His voice was cold, his eyes glinting with threat. If anything happens to Yi Qing, you'll be the first to pay the price. I took a deep breath and stepped out from the corner without a trace of emotion. When the kidnapper called for the second time, Yi Qing's mother nearly snatched the communication device out of my hand. Let me talk to them. You'll just deliberately provoke them, she screamed. The director finally stopped her and gave me an apologetic look. I picked up the phone, my tone calm. I'm a police representative. I want to confirm the safety of the hostage first. 15 minutes later, I hung up the phone, having successfully identified internal conflicts within the kidnappers' gang. The Gu family collectively sneered, as if I had just been acting. What's the point of stalling? Isn't it just to see us panic? Yi Qing's mother sneered sarcastically. Gu Xizhi grabbed his father's hand and spat forcefully, almost landing by my feet. I dodged the spit, but I couldn't avoid the hatred in my son's eyes. Auntie Yi Qing taught me to play the piano and sing. What can you do? You're not as good as her at anything. That's why Dad doesn't want you. Gu Mingzhi not only didn't stop him but also gently patted his son's head to show encouragement. I don't know what they fed their son, but it made a child so cruel to his own mother. At that moment, the kidnapper called for the third time, demanding that I answer alone. Gu Mingzhi sternly warned, if you dare to play tricks, I won't let you off. Amidst the doubting and malicious gazes of everyone, I picked up the phone and walked alone into the darkness. 3. The kidnapper's phone rang again. Mr. Gu must come in person with the money, and that female negotiator named Su-won must come too. Mr. Gu, your little sweetheart is delicate and can't handle rough treatment. The kidnapper's laughter was harsh. Mr. Su, our boss really appreciates your skills and would like to chat with you in person. The command center fell silent for a moment, then erupted in the hysterical cries of Yi Qing's family. It's all your fault, you angered the kidnappers. Yi Qing's mother pointed at me, her eyes filled with hatred. Gu Mingzhi's veins bulged on his forehead as he glared at me, his eyes revealing a murderous intent. He suddenly turned to the crowd, his voice hoarse but pretending to be firm. For Qingchen, I would brave any danger. Su-won, the kidnappers specifically asked for you. If you dare not go, I'll make you disappear. Chapter 4. He actually threatened me with his life. I suppressed the raging hatred within me, my voice as cold as ice. Mr. Gu, I am a negotiation expert, not your scapegoat. You must follow my orders once inside, or else, we all go down together. Gu Mingzhi's eyes flashed with disdain as he gritted his teeth and said, as long as it saves Qingqing, I'll listen to you for now. At the entrance of the abandoned factory, Gu Mingzhi walked ahead of me, his back tense. At the warehouse door on the 3rd floor, he suddenly stopped, turned around, and said fiercely, Su Wan, don't play any tricks. Pushing the door open, I found Yi Qing bound to an iron frame, her face swollen and red. Mingzhi, save me, I'm so scared, she cried, tears streaming down her face. Gu Mingzhi rushed over like a madman, tightly hugging her. Qingqing, don't be afraid, I'm here, gently wiping away her tears. He carefully examined her injuries. I stood at the door, and he never even glanced at me the entire time, as if I were just air. A harsh laugh suddenly rang out from the darkness, and several armed men emerged from all directions. Mr. Gu, did you bring the money? The scar-faced leader sneered. Dr. Su, our boss has been longing for you. He said that only a woman like you is worthy to accompany him in death. The kidnapper's bold gazes roamed over my body. Gu Mingzhi stepped in front of Yi Qing, his voice trembling. The money is here, let her go. The scar-faced man took the money and tossed it to his underling, his eyes gleaming with an eerie light. I've got the money, but it's not that simple. Suddenly, he pressed the remote in his hand, and the black box in the corner of the warehouse lit up with red light, accompanied by a piercing countdown sound. 30 seconds, good luck to you all. The kidnappers laughed and quickly retreated, leaving us facing a countdown to death. Tick, 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 each sound was like the whisper of the Grim Reaper. The warehouse exit was narrow and cluttered with debris, making it impossible for all 3 of us to escape at once. Gu Mingzhi's face was pale, and Yi Qing in his arms screamed non-stop. 20 seconds. I quickly scanned the surroundings, looking for possible cover. Gu Mingzhi suddenly grabbed my shoulder with a force that almost crushed my bones. 15 seconds. His eyes were no longer panicked, but a bone-chilling calm. Su Wan, his voice was low, revealing an eerie smile. 10 seconds. Haven't you always wanted to prove yourself? Sacrificing your life for Qingqing's is a worthy death. Time seemed to stand still. 5 seconds. Gu Mingzhi's eyes flashed with madness as he roared, Su Wan, die. With all his strength, he suddenly pushed me towards the bomb glowing with a deadly red light. 3 seconds. Holding Yi Qing, he used the force of pushing me to leap towards safety. 1 second. I was suspended in midair, seeing the coldness and determination in Gu Mingzhi's eyes. 0 seconds. The deafening explosion consumed everything. The massive shockwave hurled me through the air, my body feeling torn apart. The scorching blast hit me head-on. Consciousness began to fade. Chapter 5. 4. The explosion's shockwave knocked me over, and my consciousness slowly returned. Rescue workers rushed into the abandoned factory, joyfully shouting, Expert Su is awake. The bomb's power was negligible, just extremely loud. Gu Mingzhi stood a few meters away, embracing Yi Qing, his gaze cold. The director crouched beside me and asked, how is the health of Expert Su? I'm fine, just a bit stunned. I refused the stretcher. 15 minutes later, the police subdued the leader of the kidnappers. Bai Xiaonan was surrounded by medical staff as she came out and threw herself into Lin Zimo's arms the moment she saw him. It was terrifying. I thought I'd never see you again, she cried. Lin Zimo held her tightly, his gaze passing over her shoulder to meet mine. Dad, stepmom. Lin Yanqi pushed through the crowd and ran over. Lin Yanqi turned to me and said, you're somewhat useful. But stepmom was mostly saved by Dad. As a reward, Dad and I agree that you can come over often to help stepmom with her psychological dredge. No need, Miss Bai's psychological counseling will be handled by professionals. My job is done, I said calmly. Lin Zimo frowned and said, Su Yingxue, don't be ungrateful. We let you come back as a favor to you. I turned and left, hearing his voice behind me. Su Yingxue, stop. A black nanny van silently pulled up to the curb, and 2 small figures ran out. Mommy, you've worked so hard. Did they catch the bad guy? The 2 identical little faces asked me. I crouched down and hugged them tightly. Yes, the bad guy was caught by the police. Mommy will take you home now. A silence followed behind. Lin Yanqi screamed sharply. Who are they? Su Yingxue, didn't you say you only had 1 child? Where did these 2 little bastards come from? Lin Zimo's face turned pale. Su Yingxue, when did you get married again? And had a child? You actually hid it from me. A male voice came from behind. Kids, don't run around." The tall man stepped out of the car, took a child from my arms, and wrapped his other arm around my waist. "Mr. Lin, nice to meet you. I am Ingshua's husband, Gu Ran." Lin Zimo's face turned pale, and Bai Xiaonan clutched his arm tightly, leaning against my husband's embrace. I watched my ex-husband and daughter's shocked expressions, feeling only peace and relief. 5. Under the crystal chandelier, Gu Ran and I stood at the center of the charity gala, the focus of everyone's attention. Gu Ran's hand rested on my waist, his perfectly tailored suit accentuating his demeanor. "Ingshue, you look stunning tonight," he whispered in my ear. Just as I was about to respond, I unexpectedly saw Lin Zimo and Bai Xiaonan. Lin Zimo's eyes flashed with shock and complex emotions. 5 years have passed, and what was once a deep love is now nothing but estrangement. "Don't mind it," Gu Ran said, noticing my stiffness and gripping my hand tightly. Bai Xiaonan walked straight toward us. "Miss Su, what a coincidence," she said sweetly. The red wine in her hand suddenly slipped and spilled on my dress. Chapter 6. "I'm sorry, Miss Su. It wasn't on purpose." She was on the verge of tears. Lin Zimo quickly stepped forward to shield her. "Su Ingshue, Xiaonan really didn't mean it." Gu Ran took off his suit jacket and draped it over my shoulders. "It's okay. Let's go change into another dress." His voice was calm. He turned to Lin Zimo. "Mr. Lin, keep your people in check. My wife is not someone anyone can just take advantage of." Bai Xiaonan's expression twisted. "Who are you? How dare you speak to Zimo like that?" Lin Zimo straightened his back. "Mr. Gu, isn't it? Although Ingshue and I are divorced, we have a daughter together, and there are some matters that outsiders shouldn't interfere with." An elderly man with white hair approached and bowed to Gu Ran. "Mr. Gu, your presence here is truly an honor." He glanced at Lin Zimo and gave a slight nod. "Mr. Lin, you're here too." Lin Zimo's face turned pale. "Let's go, change clothes." Gu Ran put his arm around me and turned around. "Gu Ran," Lin Zimo shouted at our retreating backs. Gu Ran turned around and smiled. "Mr. Lin, is there something else?" He kissed my forehead. "Ingshue is the greatest fortune of my life. Thank you for your foolishness back then, which gave her the chance to meet me. Let's go. The kids are waiting for us to come home." As we walked out of the hall, Gu Ran wiped away the tears from the corner of my eye. "Don't cry for those who aren't worth it." I shook my head. "These are tears of relief." Under the moonlight, we smiled at each other. 6. As soon as we walked in, the 2 babies excitedly ran towards us, calling out "Mommy, Daddy" in their sweet, baby voices. I crouched down and pulled them into my arms. "Mommy, did you catch the bad guys today?" Gu Ming asked. "Yes, Mommy and the police caught all the bad guys together," I said, ruffling his hair. Gu Ran took the hot tea. "Kids, it's time to sleep. Mom is very tired today." After the nanny took them upstairs, Gu Ran sat beside me and massaged my temples. "You've had a tough day. How's the kidnapping case going?" he asked softly. "It's still under investigation, but I feel there's something fishy about this kidnapping case. What do you think?" The kidnappers' actions were too deliberate, like they were following a script, and they specifically demanded that both me and Lin Zimo go in together. "Do you suspect it was planned?" "It's just a gut feeling. Hopefully, the investigation will yield results soon." The phone rang, jolting me awake early the next morning. "Sue, we've got new developments in the kidnapping case. Can you come over right away?" the director said urgently. In the police station conference room, the director pushed the file across the table to me. "We found this on the kidnapper's phone." I opened the file, my pupils contracting. The chat logs between Bai Xiaonan and the leader of the kidnappers revealed that this abduction was a self-staged act she had masterminded. "Is she trying to swindle money from Lin Zimo?" The technical department head nodded. She knew Lin Zimo's company was struggling with its cash flow and wanted to use this to extort ransom money to settle the debts. No wonder the kidnappers were so professional yet didn't actually harm the hostage. "There's something even more serious." She explicitly mentioned taking the opportunity to eliminate Su Wan, saying you are the biggest obstacle between her and Lin Zimo. Chapter 7. Has Bai Xiaonan been arrested yet? Under investigation. We are also looking into Lin Zimo's involvement. As I walked out of the police station, my phone kept vibrating with calls from Lin Zimo. The police suddenly stormed into my house and took Xiaonan away. "Are you behind this, aren't you?" he roared. "Lin Zimo, the police have all the evidence of Bai Xiaonan's involvement in the kidnapping. You'd better hope you're not an accomplice." "Impossible. How could Xiaonan do something like this?" "Someone must be framing her." "Then please explain. Why did the kidnappers know we would go together?" why did you push me into danger before the bomb exploded? I was in a panic at the time. The first reaction in a moment of panic is what truly reveals a person's nature. Lin Zimo, by Xiaonan was just arrested, but you might be facing charges of attempted murder. 7. Hanging up the phone. I felt a mix of emotions. 5 years have passed since that divorce, and today I finally saw the true face of this man. Just as I was about to leave, a familiar figure blocked my path. Mom, Lin Yanqi stood in front of me, her eyes swollen. Is little mom really taken away? I looked at the girl. Yanqi, this is an adult matter, you don't need to worry. Did you frame her? She looked up. You're just jealous that dad has a new love. And you want to destroy our family. I took a deep breath. Yanqi, you're 12 years old now, and you should understand right from wrong. Aunt Bai did something illegal and must face the consequences. I don't believe it. She's been so good to me. She can't be a bad person. You're the bad one. Over the years, Lin Zimo and Bai Xiaonan have instilled so much prejudice in her. Yanqi, no matter what you think, Mom will always love you. When you grow up a bit more, you'll understand the truth. In the evening, Bai Xiaonan was officially arrested. Lin Zimo was also taken away by the police for assistance in the investigation. Gu Ran brought over a cup of hot tea. I heard Lin Zimo was taken away too. Yeah, the police are investigating whether he was involved in the planning. He claims he was unaware, but his behavior at the factory was too suspicious. Gu Ran gently put his arm around my shoulder. No matter the outcome, this is no longer your burden. I'm worried about Yanqi, she's too young to handle such a blow. If Lin Zimo is guilty, we can apply for custody. I shook my head. You don't understand Yanqi, she hates me. In her eyes, I'm the bad mother who abandoned her. Time will tell. 3 days later, Lin Zimo appeared at my doorstep. Suing Xue, let's talk. I gestured coldly for him to come in. What is it? I've come to apologize. The police have figured it out. Bai Xiaonan indeed masterminded all of this. She not only wanted to swindle money but also wanted to kill you. Did she confess? Yes, she said the company was on the verge of bankruptcy and needed money to stay afloat. Plus, she's always been jealous of you, fearing you might come back to compete for Yanqi and me. What about you? Were you an accomplice? I had no idea, but the police found out the company really was facing bankruptcy, and since I pushed you towards the bomb, they suspect I was an accomplice. I sneered. So you've come to ask me to testify. Chapter 8, Ing Su. He knelt down. I know I'm not worthy, but please believe me, I truly had no idea. For the sake of Yanqi, help me. I will truthfully state what I have seen and heard. Whether you are innocent or not is for the law to decide. Lin Zimo grabbed my hand. Ing Xue, I was wrong all these years. I regret it. I shouldn't have left you and Yanqi for Bai Xiaonan. I pulled my hand back. Lin Zimo, 5 years ago you said that if you could do it over, you'd rather be alone. Now, you've got your wish. After seeing Lin Zimo off, I stood by the window. The phone rang. It was the director, Expert Su. Bai Xiaonan has confessed everything. Lin Zimo was indeed unaware, but he still remains a suspect. 8. Lin Zimo refuses to give up. The phone rang every night at dawn. Suing Xue, let's talk. I hung up and blocked the number. He then sent an email talking about misunderstanding and reconciliation. I only replied, it's all in the past, may we both be well. I took the twins to the park on the weekend and saw him by the flower bed. I took the kids and turned to leave. Ing Xue, he caught up. The children hid behind me. Go away, don't scare the kids, give me a chance. I was wrong. Was it wrong to abandon your wife and daughter, or was it wrong to see me doing better than you? Mrs. Gu, I'm sorry to disturb you. He set down the gift box and left. I comforted my son. Mom's fine. Keep playing. On Monday, I went to the hospital and opened the door to find the room filled with roses. My colleagues teased, someone's really going all out to chase you. Huh. I gave the flowers to the patient. He waited for me at the door after work. Ing Xue, can we talk? Gu Ran is coming to pick me up soon. I've cut ties with Xiaonan Bai, so I want to start over. Do you think the world revolves around you? We're no longer the same kind of people. Is it because of Gu Ran? It's because I'm happy. And it has nothing to do with you. Yanqi misses you very much. She has a father and a stepmother. That's enough. Yanqi doesn't want a new mom, only you. What did you say 5 years ago? The child will forget you. I was bewitched. Please leave. That evening, Yanqi called. Mom, Yanqi, how are you? Why don't you want me? Mom never wanted to leave you. It was your dad who wanted to take you away. Why didn't you fight for it? Why did you agree? Is Uncle Guren richer than Dad? Who taught you to say that? Dad said you think we're poor. Your father was worth over 100 million back then. Where does poor come from? I want to see my younger brother. They are surnamed Gu, not your brothers. That evening, Guren asked, do you want to see her? I shook my head. Forget it. Let's just each go our own way. The next day, Lin Zimo stopped me at the company building. For the last time, please. He knelt down. Zimo Lin. Don't do this. I can't live without you. Chapter 9. By Xiaonan appeared around the corner, pushing a wheelchair. I pulled my hand back. Please don't show up in front of me again. If you keep harassing me, I'll apply for a restraining order. We'd both moved on long ago. 9. By Xiaonan sat in the defendant's seat, her face pale. The prosecutor read the charges. Defendant By Xiaonan is accused of intentional injury, fraud, kidnapping, and other serious offenses. With solid evidence and severe circumstances, Lin Zimo stared ahead, as if aging 10 years overnight. The defendant not only masterminded and staged his own kidnapping to extort 500 million in ransom, but also intended to murder Ms. Su Wan. By Xiaonan suddenly screamed, it's all Lin Zimo's fault. He knew the company was on the verge of bankruptcy, yet he spent his days indulging in debauchery. He instructed me to do this. He knew everything. He hated suing Xue. He wanted her dead. The courtroom erupted in commotion, and Lin Zimo turned pale. By Xiaonan turned to me, you think you've won. Lin Zimo never loved me, and he never loved you. He only loves himself. I sat quietly in the gallery, and Guren held my hand tightly. The verdict was read. By Xiaonan was found guilty of multiple crimes and sentenced to 15 years in prison. As I left the courtroom, Lin Zimo stopped me. Xue, I really didn't know. Enough, Zimo Lin, the court acquitted you. But we all know you saw By Xiaonan's abnormalities early on. You abandoned me back then, and now you're reaping what you sowed. I've let go of the past, and you should face reality too. Zimo Lin suddenly knelt down and cried. The company went bankrupt, creditors are at the door, and Yanqi weeps every day. I beg you, help me. Guren coldly interrupted, Mr. Lin, a man must take responsibility, the consequences of your own actions. You must face them on your knees. We turned and left, with Lin Zimo's wails echoing behind us. On the way home, Guren asked, did everything go okay just now? I smiled, it's fine. It's just someone else's story now. As we opened the door, the twins came rushing over. The phone rang. It was Nianqi's homeroom teacher, Ms. Su. Nianqi hasn't been to school for 3 days, and we can't reach Mr. Lin. Guren looked at me. Should we go check on her? I bit my lip and said, let's go. No matter what, she's still my daughter. Lin Zimo's apartment door was locked, and no one answered after we rang the doorbell multiple times. The security guard said, Mr. Lin was surrounded by creditors last night. It said that he escaped. The little girl seems to still be at home. Guren immediately contacted a locksmith. When the door opened, the smell of alcohol hit me, and the living room was in complete disarray. Nianqi, I called out. In the corner of the bedroom, I found Nianqi curled up, her face pale and her eyes swollen. Mom, her tears burst forth. I hugged her tightly. It's okay, Mom is here, Dad is gone. He said he was sorry and told me to live well. Nianqi was so weak from hunger that she had bruises all over her body. The creditors did this. They said my dad owes a lot of money. Guren immediately called, send someone to find Lin Zimo right away, focusing on all possible suicide locations. Chapter 10. Don't be afraid, we'll find your dad. Now, would you like to come home with us first? They say Dad embezzled company funds, and the police are looking for him. On the way home, Nianqi fell asleep on my shoulder. The twins quickly shared their toys and snacks when they saw Nianqi. Sister, this is my favorite teddy bear. Guming handed a stuffed toy to Nianqi. Nianqi smiled, tears streaming down her face. That evening, the police reported that Lin Zimo was found in a hotel having overdosed on medication. He was rushed to the hospital and is now out of danger. Why would he rather die than live properly and stay with me? Nianqi murmured to herself. I hugged her. Some people don't know how to cherish, but you always have me, Uncle Gu, and your 2 brothers. Nianqi threw herself into my arms. Mom, I'm sorry. I hated you so much, but I didn't know you were suffering too. It's okay, Mom never blamed you. That night, we decided that no matter what happened, we would give Nianqi a home. 10. Lin Zimo woke up in the hospital and saw me first. Why are you here? He asked weakly. Nianqi needs to know her father is still alive. I replied calmly, alive? I have lost everything. My company went bankrupt, I'm deep in debt, my reputation is ruined. Even my daughter is beyond my reach. Are you really just going to give up like this? 5 years ago, you swore to give Nianqi the best life possible. What happened? Lin Zimo fell silent for a moment, tears streaming down his face. I ruined everything. I got addicted to gambling, lost the company, and accumulated massive debts. Bai Xiaonan found out and orchestrated that kidnapping. She hates you with a burning passion because you have everything I could never have, a happy family, a successful career. I hate you too, for showing me how powerless I am. Lin Zimo, I don't care about your hatred, all I care about is Nianqi. The police are investigating the case of you embezzling company funds, and you must face it. For Nianqi, pull yourself together. Lin Zimo suddenly grabbed my hand. I beg you, help me. As long as you're willing to testify that I wasn't involved in the kidnapping, I can reduce my punishment. I pulled my hand back. You know the truth, I won't lie. As I left the ward, the police were already waiting outside. Lin Zimo, in an attempt to clear his name, cooperated with the investigation and revealed more insider information. His relationship with Bai Xiaonan began with a deception. Lin Zimo was addicted to gambling, losing most of the company's assets, and embezzled funds to cover the shortfall. After learning about it, Bai Xiaonan threatened him, demanding his cooperation in planning a kidnapping. So, you were indeed aware of the kidnapping plot? The prosecutor asked. Lin Zimo finally nodded and confessed. The court ruled 5 years of imprisonment, suspended sentence, and full compensation to the company's investors. Nianqi cried when she heard the news. Why did he deceive me like this? For so many years, people sometimes lose their way, but what matters is whether they can find the right direction again, I said, holding her. Lin Zimo came to my house after being released, just to see Nianqi one last time. Chapter 11. Dad is leaving. He owes a lot of money and needs to work elsewhere to pay off the debt, he said, kneeling in front of Nianqi. Will you come back? Nianqi asked softly. Yes, I will, but before that, you need to live with your mom. Dad isn't fit to be your guardian. Mr. Gu, please, take care of them, Lin Zimo said to Gu Ran, who was standing nearby. I will, not because of your request, but because they deserve the best. Gu Ran replied. Lin Zimo took one last look at Nianqi before turning and leaving. Nianqi threw herself into my arms, sobbing, and I held her tightly. After Lin Zimo left, Nianqi stood at the guest room door and asked me, is this my room? Yes, we've prepared everything, and you can redecorate it to your liking. 2 kids came over. Sister, do you want to play with us? Nianqi was stunned. That night, I heard sobs coming from Nianqi's room. Nianqi, what's wrong? I entered the room and gently stroked her hair. I had a nightmare where Dad and my stepmom left me behind. Mom is here, and I won't leave you. Why do they all leave me? Is it because I'm not good enough? No, sweetheart, it's not your fault. Some adult mistakes shouldn't be borne by a child. Did Dad really get involved in that kidnapping plan? Yes, but he paid the price for it. I thought he was the best dad in the world. I even hated you because of what he said. That's all in the past. What matters now is that we're together as a family. The next day, Nianqi actively offered to help with housework. Uncle Gu, can I play chess with you? She asked Gu Ran. Of course, I've heard you're very smart. Dad never played chess with me. He said girls don't need to learn these things. In my eyes, a girl can learn anything she wants. Whatever you want to learn, your mom and I will support you. At school, Nianqi told me after school. Mom, I want to transfer schools. No, sweetheart, running away won't solve the problem. Let's face it together. Gu Ran went to the school personally and worked with the principal to develop measures to prevent school bullying. Nianqi, remember, you never have to apologize for someone else's mistakes. Who you are depends on your own choices, Gu Ran told her. That night, Nianqi hugged Gu Ran for the first time on her own initiative. Thank you, Uncle Gu. Gradually, Nianqi began to smile, play with the twins, and help me with housework. One evening, I overheard her on the phone. Dad, I'm doing well at Mom's place. When will you come to see me? After hanging up the phone, her shoulders trembled slightly. He said he's very busy and might not be able to come back for a while. She whispered as she saw me enter. No matter what, we're here, waiting for you, I said, sitting beside her. Mom, I think I finally understand something, she said, leaning on my shoulder. Story 2, the 10th time I felt the school prince's ominous gaze. I saw the bullet screen. The male lead travels back to 10 years ago and finds that his wife is still someone else's girlfriend. The sky has fallen, after years of secret admiration. finally catching the wife, and now it's time to start over. Lin Mo's baby now has a boyfriend, the male lead can only endure it. I feel that this old man won't be able to endure it as he did at 19, sure enough, the next second my phone received an anonymous message, "Hello, can you break up, or, do you mind having one more boyfriend? I promise, before you break up, I will behave and stay hidden." 1. Just as the elective class bell rang, while I was packing my books, a boy from my class in the back suddenly poked my back gently with a pen. When I turned around, I found that he was a bit nervously looking down. "Lin Mo, can you help me take a look at this problem?" I nodded, took his advanced math problem set, and wrote out the solutions. "Did you understand?" After I finished explaining, I looked up at the boy. The boy seemed to just come back to his senses. His ears were so red it seemed they were burning, and he nodded awkwardly. "I understood, Lin Mo. You are really amazing." I politely smiled at him. "You're too modest. If you have any questions in the future, you can also ask me." As soon as I finished speaking, I felt a cold and sharp gaze. Here it comes again. I turned my head to look at Chin Shubai to the side. His eyebrows were sharp, his nose high, his skin fair, making his black eyes look like a deep pond. At this moment, he was staring at the guy who was smiling at me with a particularly resentful expression. When he saw me looking at him, his eyes flickered, filled with loneliness and sorrow, like a poor, abandoned puppy. This situation has already happened for the 10th time today. From the morning, whenever a guy spoke to me, whether it was a classmate asking for my contact information on the way, or a senior from the club discussing something, he would appear precisely and watch them from a corner silently. Then, when I noticed, his eyelashes would flutter slightly, looking pitiful and lonely. This is so abnormal. Clearly, he and I have never had any intersection. I only know that he is the prince of a university, has a cold personality, and is the top student in the computer science department. Besides attending classes, I rarely stay at school and don't live in the dorms. I couldn't figure out how I got on this person's bad side. Just when I couldn't help but want to ask him, a series of scrolling bullet comments suddenly appeared in front of me. A 29-year-old man will firmly keep an eye on his wife, while 19-year-old Chin Shubai can only silently tell himself he has no right to be jealous. Ha ha ha, the desperate husband thinks, every man who approaches my wife has ill intentions. The male lead travels back from 29 years old to 19 years old, his wife is still someone else's girlfriend, the sky has already collapsed, and those guys still talk to his wife, which is even more annoying. After years of secret admiration, finally having a wife, and now starting all over again. Who wouldn't go crazy? 2. I blinked my eyes, confirming that I wasn't hallucinating. Is Chin Shubai secretly in love with me, or is he my future husband? It's not the 19-year-old Chin Shubai anymore, but my husband Chin Shubai who came back from the future. I am stunned as I sort through this news, and the bullet comments appear again. No choice, Lin Mo is currently dating her childhood sweetheart, so the male lead can only endure it. I feel that this old man won't endure it like he did when he was 19, dating. I remembered, previously that kid Jiangji was dating the prettiest girl in their department and got dumped. Later, he was invited to her birthday party. He used a month's worth of living expenses to ask me to pretend to be his girlfriend to save his face, not short of money, but Jiangji is too annoying. He keeps begging me in my ear every day. I can't stand it anymore. I gave in to him. Did Chin Shubai see that day? While I was mocking my mischievous childhood friend, he sent me a message. Lin Mo, emergency. I was about to type a reply when the back door of the classroom was suddenly pushed open. Jiangji, with an intense and unrestrained expression, grabbed my backpack with one hand and pulled me up with the other, rushing out. Jiangji, you, bang, the chair snapped back suddenly, making a loud noise. It interrupted my words and halted the motion between Jiangji and me. I turned to look back. Chin Shubai stood against the light, his jaw clenched tightly, looking at the position Jiangji was holding me in, eyes reflecting collapse, pain, and desire. Then his Adam's apple bobbed, and his voice was hoarse. Sorry, I got up too hastily. Didn't scare you, did I? Jiangji pulled me, who still hadn't reacted, and ran outside, hurriedly replying, It's alright, brother, it's understandable to be anxious about class ending. The barrage comments became excited over this scene. I really can't hold back anymore. What excellence in studies, what moral bottom line, what gradual approach, to hell with all that. I want my wife. Medicine, medicine. This desperate husband is really going crazy. Mousy, don't leave, Mousy. I recalled the scene just now. It feels like this time, Chin Shubai really has become a desperate husband abandoned by his wife. 3. Lin Mo. Good Lin Mo. The goddess with beautiful looks and a kind heart. Do you have no classes later? There's a gathering later. Meng Yao will also be there, and she will bring her boyfriend too. Come with me. Outside the school, Jiangji leaned against his flashy new sports car, clasped his hands in a bow to me. Jiangji, you really are sick. Stop acting. Acting in this play is wasting my chances with girls. I thought of Chin Shubai, glanced at him briefly, and coldly refused. Jiangji paused for a moment, looking at me with some excitement. Peach Blossom, haven't you always been indifferent to this? What's going on? Do you have someone you like? What does that have to do with you? You're allowed to date, but I'm not. I shot him a sideways glance. TCH, if you're not going to help, then don't. Tomorrow I'll just get a new one. I'm so handsome, after all. As for you, be careful not to be deceived. Do you want me to show some kindness and help you out? And hey, when we graduate, let's go abroad, in a foreign country. Don't you dare ask me to take care of you. Jiangji has sharp eyebrows and eyes. Speaking in an unusual tone, I kicked the tire of his beloved car, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. First, you need to fix your terrible sense of direction. Who's going to take care of whom? As we spoke, the bullet screen reappeared. What the heck? Is the girl just pretending to be in love? Is this an act? Ha ha ha. Chin Shubai was more down to earth during the day, having a crush in high school, then a crush in college, until the girl came back from abroad, and they met at a banquet. Only then did he dare to get close to the female lead through company cooperation. This is what happens when you don't have the courage to speak up. If only he had bravely asked the girl back then. After all, at 19, Chin Shubai had nothing. Lin Mo and Jiangji were childhood sweethearts, a perfect match socially. It looks like he became a big boss later but probably still never dared to ask. Of course he didn't dare to ask, since back then the female lead had approached him for a marriage alliance, which was also about a strong partnership. He always thought it was a marriage of convenience, and later quietly transferred most of his assets to the female lead's name, just as I was seriously looking at the scrolling text. My phone suddenly vibrated, and an anonymous message appeared on the screen. Hello, can you please break up? I was stunned for a moment, and before I could react, a new message came in. Or do you mind having another boyfriend? I promise, before you break up, I will hide it well. My fingertips lingered on the screen, editing 3 words, Chin Shubai. Just as I was hesitating whether to send it, Jiangji suddenly leaned in. Who is it? The peach blossom you have your eye on. I trembled and hit send. My forehead twitched. I pressed the phone off and looked darkly at Jiangji. What's wrong? Are you treating it like a treasure? Jiangji snorted from his nose, opened the car door with a cold face. Are you sending me back? No need. Qin Ran has asked me to go shopping. You can go by yourself. Hearing Qin Ran's name, Jiangji got into the car decisively, causing a roar. 4. Where is that kid Jiangji? This young lady has been back for so many days, and he hasn't come to see me. Qin Ran brushed her thick, flaxen curls, her beautiful face showing displeasure. I sat on the sofa, casually watching the models showcasing this season's new products, explaining to this childhood friend who grew up with me and Jiangji. He said when you came back last time, you dragged him to be your model for practice, scolding him while shooting, which left him with a shadow. Qin Ran's lips curled coldly upwards. Don't worry, I don't look at him anymore. A few days ago, I passed by a repair shop and saw a gem there. In a moment, I'll take you on my bike to have a look. I want him to practice on me. A gem. The face of Chin Shubai flashed through my mind. I took out my phone and tapped the screen lightly. No messages. I slightly raised my eyebrows. In the evening, after thoroughly browsing, Miss Qin rode her new bike and took me to that repair shop. The boss came forward with bright eyes. Before he could speak, Qin Ran pointed to a man not far away. Let him come. The man looked up, his expression showing disdain and indifference, but he was slightly taken aback when he saw me. I looked at Chin Shubai, who wore a black tank top, had broad shoulders and a slim waist, and whose arms were smooth and powerful, with a slight curve at the corner of my mouth. How about it? Isn't he a masterpiece? 3 quarts and 5 eyes, a golden ratio, absolutely photogenic. Qin Ran's eyes were filled with enthusiasm for the work. Yeah, a masterpiece indeed, I replied softly while looking at the gradually approaching Chin Shubai. 5. Chin Shubai's distinctly boned hand, wearing gloves, slid over every part of the car. The inspection was very thorough. Hey handsome, what's your name? Do you work here? How much do you earn? Are you interested in a relaxing, high-paying job? Ran hugged me, enthusiastically like a con artist. Chinsu didn't lift his head, but still politely responded. Speaking briefly, Chinsu bye. I come over occasionally to help a friend, not very interested. Ran pouted, glanced at the lit-up phone, and walked aside disinterestedly to answer the call. My gaze fell on Chinsu bai's broad back, and I looked at him freely. Chinsu bai's movement paused slightly, then he got up and took off his gloves. There's nothing wrong with your friend's car. I stared at him and said slowly, is that all you want to say to me? Chinsu bai's eyes flickered, and his Adam's apple rolled. I waited patiently for him. When the gloves were almost deformed from being squeezed, he finally spoke. Just now. He only said 2 words before stopping again. Following his gaze, I saw Ran approaching with a face full of sorrow. She annoyedly threw the car keys into my arms. My mom came to check on me. Can you help me ride the bike back? I'll come pick it up later. Ran's mother strictly prohibited her from riding the bike, even stopping her card for that reason. I saw Chinsu bai staring at the car keys, slightly furrowing his brow. After Ran left, I shook the keys in my hand. What, do you want a ride? Originally, I wanted to tease him, but the man's long, strong fingers pressed against the car, and his dark eyes looked down. Can I ride? I'll take you home. When I raised my eyebrow, just thinking he was trying to show off, the bullet screen started scrolling again. When my wife wanted to ride a motorcycle, Chinsu bai's hair stood on end. Chinsu bai probably will never forget that time when the girl graduated from high school, rode a bike with friends, and had an accident that sent her to the hospital. At that time, I went to the hospital every day, watching the girl from a distance through the door. I thought for a while, and indeed this incident happened. It seems what the bullet screen said is true. I handed another helmet to Chinsu bai and winked at him. Sure. Then I watched Chinsu bai, who was organizing his helmet in front of me. I leaned in and wrapped my arms around his waist. His hand suddenly froze, and all his muscles tensed up. It feels like extreme restraint, yet like a hidden excitement. 6. Chinsu bai rides his bike steadily. The speed is not particularly fast, so, by the time we got to my house, we both had gotten a little wet from the rain. I stood in the elevator and pressed the button for my floor, watching Chinsu bai standing outside, his outline sharp, his hair a bit messy from taking off the helmet, a cold demeanor revealing a hint of swagger that didn't belong to him. The slightly damp tank top clung loosely to my body, the outline of my abs barely visible. As we locked eyes, the elevator door slowly closed. I casually opened my mouth and said, Chinsu bai, do you want to come up and wait for the rain to stop? The surroundings were quiet, with no response. Suddenly, bang, at the moment the elevator door closed, a clean and strong hand suddenly grasped the door frame. Trembling slightly, Chinsu bai's pitch-black eyes were swirling with intense emotions. His ears, however, were slightly red. I smiled and stepped aside to give him some space. After entering the house, I turned on the light and said to the person behind me, Are you going to take a shower, or just wipe off with a towel? Glancing outside, I saw that this sudden downpour was likely to continue for a while. A towel will do. Chinsu bai stood at the entrance, not stepping into my territory, as if restraining himself from crossing a certain line. Like a polite gentleman, I looked at him, smiling. Did you have that same expression when you sent me those messages? You dare to come home with me, but you don't dare to undress in front of me. Chinsu bai's arms tensed, the light casting shadows on his brow. I poured a glass of water, leaned against the table edge, and let my gaze slowly slide over him. Chinsu bai, I've only liked good things since I was young. Chinsu bai slightly raised his eyes, understanding my meaning. The thunder rumbled. He walked towards me step by step, cleanly and neatly removing that tight tank top. The red string around his neck rolled down from his moving Adam's apple, hanging below the collarbone, where a small safety buckle was dangling. My gaze followed the safety buckle down, landing on his firm and powerful abdominal muscles and smoothly contoured waist. In the blink of an eye, he was already in front of me, slightly leaning forward, his palm propping up the edge of the table, enclosing me in his space. Does this please you, Miss Lin? His breath brushed past my ear, filled with nervousness and anticipation. I tilted my head and fluttered my eyelashes, and under his intense gaze, my eyes gradually lowered, until my eyes were suddenly covered, plunging me into darkness. I heard Chinsu bai's hoarse and suppressed voice. I want to be your boyfriend, not for this kind of thing. Then, he hurriedly and nervously ran towards the bathroom. 7. When Chinsu bai came out, I had already finished washing in another bathroom. You took a long time, Chin-su-bai. I stood by the table drinking water, looking at the man with his upper body exposed, his wet hair casually pushed back. His eyes slightly dropped. He bent down and picked me up with one hand, placing me on the sofa, and put the slippers back on my feet. Why does this person have no body heat at all? As I was thinking, I saw Chin-su-bai staring intently at my collarbone, and his hand holding my ankle was also a bit unsteady. What's wrong? I looked at him and asked. After a moment of rising and falling chest, his emotions returned to calm. It's okay. Are you hungry? Not hungry. There's watermelon in the fridge. Take it and eat. I curled up on the sofa and changed to a more comfortable position. Chin-su-bai took a cushion from the side, placed it behind me, and then went to the kitchen. I watched his silent back, and remembered his eyes just now, like a discarded dog that had lost its master's affection. In confusion, the chat messages appeared again. Is Chin-su-bai an idiot? Can't he see that it's a scratch? Haha. The person involved can't see the forest for the trees. Chin-su-bai. It doesn't matter. Others are just passers-by. I am the home of my wife. What does this even mean? As I complained, I walked to the full-length mirror and saw a small red mark on my collarbone that I had scratched. Very eye-catching. My fingers brushed over the red mark as I leaned closer to the mirror. There was a sound behind me. When I turned around, I saw Chin-su-bai holding a freshly cut watermelon, looking at me. His eyes slightly red and glistening with moisture. After a long while, he forced out a smile. Eat some watermelon. I took a bite of the watermelon and said, Chin-su-bai, that mark is, the rain has stopped. Chin-su-bai's gentle voice interrupted my words. His eyes looking at me were filled with pleading. Then, hurriedly putting on the dry clothes, he left my house with the trash. 8. The next day in class, I was dozing off in the last row. In my hazy state, I heard a slight sound from the seat beside me. Someone gently draped a coat over me. A warm feeling gradually spread. I squinted and saw Chin-su-bai intently staring at the computer. His fingers were flying over the keyboard. Thank you. After saying this, I fell asleep again. As soon as the class bell rang, Chin ran and Jeong-ji charged into the classroom dramatically. Amo, let's go out to play. I found a restaurant with great decor. Hey, you are also from a university. Chin ran stared at Chin-su-bai, her gaze rekindling the passion for the work. Chin-su-bai closed the computer and politely nodded at Chin ran. I straightened up and handed him the clothes. He subtly glanced over at Jeong-ji, who was lowering her head to book a restaurant, and then slowly took them. Chin ran's gaze wandered between me and Chin-su-bai, her eyebrows raising slightly. Turning to him, I reached out my hand. Hello, classmate. Let's get to know each other again. My name is Chin ran, and I am a photographer. I want to invite you to be my model. The hourly pay is generous. Could you consider it? Chin-su-bai courteously shook half a hand. Sorry, I have other things to attend to. Then I grabbed my computer and stood up to walk out. Chin ran sighed and reached towards my face. Mo, you promised me before that you would be my model. Sigh, I still want to take a couple photo set with you, but I can't find a male model. It's frustrating. I twitched the corner of my mouth. When did I agree to be a model for her? Jeong-ji finally booked the spot, and immediately got interested upon hearing this. What's so hard to find? I am a ready-made model, aren't I? Me and Amo. With these looks, we're a perfect match. Chin ran and I simultaneously rolled our eyes. Just about to speak, an ominous shadow enveloped me. It was Chin-su-bai who had come and gone. He pursed his lips and looked at Chin ran. Is this a current settlement? Chin ran narrowed her fox-like eyes, revealing a smirk of triumph. Of course. 9. Chin-su-bai. Is Lin Mo toxic? Why are you keeping such a distance from her? Get closer. Lin Mo, put your hand around his neck. I'm taking couple photos, not ID photos. Chin ran held the camera in one hand and pointed at me and Chin-su-bai with the other. I reached out, wrapped my hand around the man's neck, and pulled him down so that our noses were just a few centimeters apart, lowering my voice. High hourly rate and cash on the spot, yet you're so unprofessional. Chin-su-bai knelt in front of me, his hand gripping my ankle, applying slight pressure. It's not about the money. I lightly ohayed, casually glanced at Jeong-ji who was standing nearby with a cold face, and said with a sigh, Chin-su-bai. Your hand is a bit shaky. Are you afraid of Jeong-ji? My tone lingered, deliberately teasing. I felt the strength on my ankle suddenly increase, then gently relaxed, filled with a reluctant tenderness that didn't want to hurt me. Amo, Chin-su-bai, change your posture. During the standoff, Chin ran gestured to us with the camera. Chin-su-bai moved behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist from behind, pulling me into his embrace with his chin resting on my shoulder. The faint scent on my body enveloped me. Isn't it necessary for a couple's photo to be this intimate? Lin Mo, did Chinran catch you on something? Jiangji rose from the chair, his expression grim. Amid the argument, I felt a light kiss fall on the back of my neck. The hot air sprayed on my skin, bringing a shiver. I'm not afraid of Jiangji, I'm just afraid of making things difficult for you. Qin Shubai's voice was low and soft, with indulgence and allure. 10. After shooting 3 sets of clothes, it was already afternoon. Wrap up, you've worked hard, I treat you to dinner, the one we booked with Jiangji. Chinran put away her camera, her eyes bright and animated. It's a thankless task, unable to recognize a good person's heart. Jiangji walked behind us, resentfully delivering an idiom to each of us. Then I turned around and cursed while calling the restaurant to confirm the menu. Qin Shubai likes you. Chinran lightly brushed her hair and squinted at the tightly closed door of the changing room. I know, I smiled at her. Chinran turned and looked at me for a while, and then knowingly shrugged. You are interested in him? Yes, I am interested, but it's not to the point of liking. I raised my eyebrows, remained silent, and glanced at the time on my phone. I'm leaving first. Where are you going? Aren't you going to eat? It's the end of the month today. I shook my phone to distract Chinran. Every month at the end of the month, returning to the old Lin family house for a meal and completing a decent family performance is an unspoken rule in our family. 11. At the dining table, the servants served the dishes and poured the wine in an orderly manner, moving without a sound and showing no expression on their faces. This loveless old Lin family house feels even colder. I looked towards the serious grandfather in the main seat and my parents who were emotionally distant beside me. I am the product of their marriage. Since birth, I have been forgotten in this large house, going to school, getting sick, being hospitalized. No one cares. Only at the end of each month, when I see them, do we put on a family act, maintaining their dignity, making it seem to the outside world that the Lin family home is harmonious and the couple is loving. I have been living this way for 19 years. Why do I suddenly feel out of place? In my reflections, the long-lost bullet comments appeared. Oh my, this serious atmosphere is making me scared. However, it seems that the girl has never mentioned her family to Qin Shubai. Later, the girl basically stopped returning to the Lin family herself. At that time, the girl was marrying into the Qin family, so she definitely wouldn't say much to him. I looked at the bullet comments and bit my lip. Perhaps it's not that I deliberately chose not to speak, but rather that I had long gotten used to it and didn't feel there was any problem. I took out my phone and found Qin Shubai's profile picture. Looking at the blank chat interface, I typed 3 words and sent them. What are you doing? The reply came back quickly. I'm doing homework. A picture was attached afterward. A large hand was hidden on the computer keyboard, with prominent veins on the back of the hand. It reminded me of the scene when he checked the car, inch by inch, sliding over it. My eyelashes fluttered, and I clicked the screen. I'm hungry. The chat interface repeatedly displayed typing. I showed a playful smile, like I was teasing a little dog. Suddenly, I felt much better. I compassionately sent over a few words. Hungry, want to come to my house for dinner. There was silence on the other end, and after a while, they finally replied with one word. Okay, do I need to tell you what dishes I like to eat? I know. 12. Just as Qin Shubai said, he knows. There's not a single dish on the table that I don't love to eat. Moreover, his cooking skills are excellent. I look at the man who is washing the dishes in the kitchen. To be honest, if it weren't for seeing the bullet comments, I would really think that Qin Shubai is a beauty trap sent by some company. He is simply like a tailor-made product just for me. Everything above and below, inside and out, is on my mind. As I was thinking, a cup of hot medicine for a cold was handed to me. Qin Shubai's fingertips had a faint pink color. You've been coughing a few times today. Drink this to prevent it. I sat on the sofa, giving him a look with my eyes. He sighed slightly, brought the cup close to my lips, and let me drink the medicine with his hand. Then he put a piece of candy in my mouth. Are you trying to coddle a child? I gave him a furtive glance. Speaking indistinctly, he slightly curled his lips, speaking in a gentle voice. So, are you feeling a little better? I paused for a moment, grabbed his hand, and easily pushed him down onto the sofa. I swung a long leg and sat down on his lap. Lin Mo. Qin Shubai kept his hands at his sides, restraining himself from touching me. Qin Shubai, do you want a reward? I pinched his face and looked down at him. There was a turbulent flow in Qin Shubai's eyes, and his breathing became heavier. Just as he was about to speak, I leaned close to his lips, my mouth opening and closing. If the cold medicine doesn't work, are you afraid of being infected by me? His Adam's apple rolls. His gaze like a beast, as if he wants to swallow me whole. In the next moment, my waist was suddenly gripped, our lips pressed tightly together, enveloping, entangling, completely possessing. I could feel his breath, an unusual tingling sensation spreading throughout my body. Chin Shuabai's palm tightened repeatedly around my waist. I couldn't help but let out a soft moan. Chin Shuabai suddenly relaxed his grip a little. Breathing against my neck, I licked my slightly numb lips. Sensing Chin Shuabai calming down bit by bit. Chin Shuabai, just now. Chin Shubai covered my mouth. I should go back. Looking at Chin Shubai's tense back as he walked out, I leaned against the sofa and tugged at the corner of my mouth. This person really can endure. 13. It turns out, Chin Shubai really can endure a lot. In the time that followed, Chin Shubai and I seemed to have reached an invisible understanding. He came every day when he had no classes to cook for me, do laundry, and clean the house. Many times, I watched Chin Shubai's back as he chopped vegetables, and his profile while hanging clothes in the sunlight, and the extra flowers in the house, the soft carpet, along with the textbooks he occasionally left behind. Suddenly, there is a sense of reality that life is flowing. This place I used to escape from the Lin family's old house has an inexplicable sense of belonging, but Chin Shubai never stays overnight. Only once, when I had a menstrual cramp, he sat by my bed, one hand massaging my lower abdomen while I was drowsy, and the other hand scrolling through the computer programming. It was then that I felt Chin Shubai seemed very busy, but he didn't say, I didn't ask either. Until I saw him at a business banquet I attended in place of my parents. As the glasses clinked, I saw Chin Shubai standing in the crowd, dressed in a suit. The hair was swept back, completely revealing that cold and sharp face, tall with long legs, very striking at first glance. Just as I was about to walk over, the bullet comments started rolling in front of me. This is the software that Chin Shubai developed in his junior year. He completed it early. This was probably his first bucket of gold, after which he started founding companies. Is this the benefit of traveling back in time? Directly hacking the system. I also want to go back to buy a lottery ticket, to meet a girl treasure so early. He must be more eager to develop himself. I paused my steps. It turns out that all this time, he has been busy with this matter. 14. You are the Chin Shubai that Lao Chi mentioned. He brought you here to let you young people see the world. The software proposal you mentioned, he talked to me about it. He is quite a talent. If we have the chance, we can also collaborate, not far away. I saw the glamorous woman in front of Chin Shubai smiling at him while holding a wine glass. You flatter me. Chin Shubai responded appropriately. The woman placed the wine glass in her hand on the table and pushed it in front of Chin Shubai. I hope we have a pleasant cooperation in the future. Chin Shubai stared at the wine in that glass. His eyes darkened slightly, yet his face remained calm. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well today. Shu, you're here. Chin Su's colloquial speech was not yet finished when I smiled and walked over to the woman. Shaolin, Mr. Shu has a good memory. I just saw Mr. Wang looking for you everywhere. I felt Chin Su's gaze and casually made up a story. After the woman left, I picked up the glass of wine, examined it closely for a while, and let out a soft laugh. I lifted my eyelids and looked at the man next to me, dressed in a suit. He lacked the youthful freshness and exuded a sense of mature restraint. It made me wonder what he would be like at 29. I knew he guessed that this glass of wine had something added to it. After all, before he returned, he was also one of the new elites in the circle. Thinking of this, I curled my fingers and barely held that high-footed glass, handing it to Chin Shubai. Not feeling well, not suitable for drinking, I dragged out my tone, laced with a sense of indulgence. What if this glass of wine is something I want you to drink? Chin Shubai's dark eyes lowered, the light illuminating him with an air of nobility, making me feel, for the first time, a subtle sense of oppression from this person. The corners of his mouth seemed to curl slightly, reaching out to take the glass. The tips of my fingers brushed against my palm, bringing a surge of warmth. Miss Lin, if it's you, I don't need to drink this glass of wine, but I will always do as you say. Then, he stared at me intently and downed the glass of wine in one go. 15. As soon as I entered the house, I was pinned against the door by Chin Shubai. He protected my head with his hand. His body temperature was enticing. Even without the lights on, I could feel the surging desire hidden in his eyes. My hand slid over his chest, through his shirt. Suddenly, my hand was empty. Chin Shubai crouched down, trembling as he unbuckled the strap of my high heels. Then he picked me up. Take a shower first, if you don't want it anymore. Just push me away. Chin Shuabai's voice was hoarse as he pushed open the bathroom door. I pressed my hand against the smooth wall, feeling the warm water pouring down from above. Chin Shuabai was behind me, planting delicate and devout kisses. Then he changed his strength, as if what just happened was merely an appetizer to soothe me. I tilted my head back, attempting to breathe in a hint of fresh air. The night is long enough for me to go from the bathroom to the room. Long enough for tears to well up in the corners of my eyes. Chin Shuabai seemed to relish the taste, not knowing when to stop. He planted a heavy kiss at a certain spot on my collarbone, as if wanting to cover something. I don't remember when I fell asleep. When I woke up, there was no one beside me. The bed sheets have been changed to new ones. The things on the floor have also been cleared away. I feel very refreshed and am still wearing my pajamas. As I walked to the living room, I smelled the aroma of food. There is a sticky note on the dining table. Go to Cheese Place for a trip. Remember to eat. What's in the bowl is a hangover soup. Drinking it will make you feel better. The signature is a very funny emoticon. I can imagine it. Chin Shubai frowns, seriously and embarrassedly drawing its appearance. I curled my lips, laughing out loud, as my shoulders trembled. The amulet Chin Shubai wore close to his body fell out from my neck. What happened yesterday? What's something that needs to be hidden? Woohoo, I finally got rid of it. After Chin Shubai and Mo Bao got married, I wanted to give it to him, but I never had the courage. It was given by his parents when he was a child, blessed by a master, and it's very effective in protecting his safety and health. It's the most precious relic left by his parents. He must be regretting it, thinking that if he had given this girl, would she not have asterisk 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 asterisk? I touched the amulet, looking at the asterisks after the last message in the comments, narrowing my eyes. Is this filtering out information related to me? While deep in thought, the alarm went off. Finished. I forgot that I had a class in the afternoon. It's still the strictest teacher. 16. I rushed into the classroom right on time. I sat at my seat, panting. The peace bracelet fell out again as I was running. I touched it with my fingertips, feeling its warmth. That warmth spread, knocking into my heart. I took out my phone and sent a message to Chin Shubai under my seat. Chin Shubai, come over to my house after you're done. I have something to say to you. The misunderstanding between Jiangji and me should be clarified with him as well. After having 3 classes, Chin Shubai just replied, good. After packing my backpack, I just walked out of the school gate when someone hugged me. Lin Mo, good news. My grandfather's surgery was very successful. He can be discharged soon. Jiangji's excited voice rang in my ears. Jiangji grew up by his grandfather's side since childhood, and they have a deep bond. The old man has been in the hospital for quite a while. Qin Ran and I had visited him before. At that time, the situation was not very good. This is indeed good news. I smiled and patted his shoulder. I told you everything would be fine, you little guy. Now you can rest easy. I'll go see the old man with Qin Ran another day. Jiangji let go of me and laughed heartily. Why wait for another day? Let's go today. I'll call Qin Ran. I held his hand that was about to make a call. Today isn't possible. I have something to do today. Jiangji looked at my face with his eyes, and his smile gradually faded. What's going on? I will tell you when the time comes. I'll leave first. I smiled mysteriously and turned around to wave my hand with a good mood. I didn't notice a gaze from afar. 17. Chin Shubai only appeared after it had completely darkened. His black shirt was unbuttoned a few buttons, revealing beautiful collarbones. His hair was a bit messy, the corners of his eyes were red, and he gave off a sense of broken despair. Chin Shubai, what's wrong? Was the negotiation not going smoothly? I approached him and pulled him into the room. It shouldn't be. According to the comments, this project shouldn't have any issues. Chin Shubai stood under the lights, his gaze tracing over my eyebrows, nose, and lips, finally revealing a reassuring smile. The cooperation is going smoothly. With his words, I felt at ease, preparing to talk about my matters. By the way, Chin Shubai, I want to tell you, I bought the cake from your favorite shop. Go ahead and eat it, Chin Shubai said calmly and gently, lifting the cake and coaxing me. My attention was immediately drawn to it. The cakes from that shop are indeed delicious, but you always have to queue for them. I was too lazy to queue, so I hardly ate it. Chin Shubai slowly unwrapped the cake and used a fork to cut a piece and feed it to my mouth. I took a bite, nodded in satisfaction, met his gaze, and spoke again. Chin Shubai, Is it tasty? Yes, it is delicious, interrupted by him multiple times. I frowned in displeasure and said coldly. What I wanted to say is that Jiangji and I, before I finished speaking, I was firmly kissed by the person in front of me, 18, his lips trembled fiercely, reluctance and sadness, his hand rested on my neck, pressed tightly against the artery, but he couldn't bear to exert force. In a daze, the barrage of comments slid past my eyes. You coward, can you let the girl finish her sentence instead of just kissing her? Seeing my childhood friend hugging the girl. I'm afraid she might want to end this relationship and not want him anymore. Just now downstairs, I was afraid to come up, fearing I'd hear what I didn't want to. Shut up, don't kiss, let our girl say something. So that's how it is. I wondered why Qin Shubai suddenly became so strange. I ran my fingers through his hair. Just as I was about to pull away the one who was biting and kissing to talk properly, my lips had a touch of moisture. Squinting to look, Qin Shubai was closing his eyes while kissing and crying. My hand that wanted to pull his hair slowly let go. Lin Mo, my cooperation went very smoothly, and I will start a business later. I have everything planned out. After that, I will transfer all my assets to your name. Whatever you want, I will give it to you. Don't reject me. Okay. Qin Shubai, who came to his senses, buried his head in the crook of my neck, his voice muffled, like a discarded dog that tried hard to please its master. 19. Qin Shubai, do you really like me that much? I gently stroked Qin Shubai's soft hair. Qin Shubai hugged me tighter, his voice hoarse. I raised my eyelids and looked out at the moonlight outside the floor-to-ceiling window, slowly saying, then let me be clear with you. I have never had a romantic relationship with Jiangji. What you saw that time was just a scene I was helping him act out. He hugged me today because his grandfather's surgery was very successful. I felt Qin Shubai's hand pause, his head slowly lifted from me, that pair of beautiful eyes still filled with moisture. A beauty shedding tears is truly stunning. What, acting? He still looked a bit confused. I looked at him and smiled gently. Yes, acting. I didn't tell you before because I wasn't very interested in you. You won't be angry, right? I won't appease you if you're angry. Qin Shubai's eyelashes fluttered, capturing the point he wanted to hear. The reason I didn't say it before is that I wasn't interested in me, so now that you're telling me, it means. His palm was rubbing my waist, and the grievance in his eyes was gone, replaced by intense desire and excitement. I pinched his face and leaned in, gently pecking on his lips. I'll give you a chance to perform well. Qin Shubai's eyes flickered, his hand slipped into my clothes, touching my skin. My other hand grabbed his shirt collar. I like you wearing a shirt. 20. Qin Shubai really put in all his effort, performing well. He pushed his 19-year-old young body to its limits. In the late night, when I was tightly embraced from behind by Qin Shubai, my head suddenly ached. Many memory fragments rushed in one after another, different scenes, sounds interwove, and finally unfolded slowly in my mind. Those are the memories of my age from 19 to 29. There was no university life like Qin Shubai's, studying abroad with Jiangji. Jiangji followed her family's arrangement and stayed abroad to take over the company's overseas business. At 24, I returned home to inherit the family business. I met the then newly minted social elite Qin Shubai at a banquet. Because of the company's business, we had interactions. When my family requested a marriage alliance, I didn't want the person arranged by my parents, so I took the initiative to approach him. Mr. Chen, are you interested in a strong partnership? At that time, I thought. Since there were no feelings anyway, I might as well find someone I found pleasing to the eye. I was thinking whether this person would be hard to deal with. I didn't expect him to agree without hesitation. After marriage, he never interfered with any of my decisions. As long as the two of us are at home, he doesn't let the housekeeper cook, and he does it himself. All of them are dishes I like. Every time I go on a business trip, he will see me off to the airport even if he is busy. And he always arranges for someone to deliver meals to me at regular times and places. But at that time, I thought he was just politely fulfilling the duty of a husband, for the sake of appearances, just like my parents who married for convenience. Later, when he transferred most of his assets to me, I thought he had an incurable illness or was about to run away. He just said calmly, I just want to give this to you. Don't worry, they're very clean. I suddenly felt a sense of confusion towards the person in front of me. I started to think of him during my spare time at work. At home, I would also occasionally look at him. At the age of 29, I was negotiating a collaboration abroad. After several days without rest, while on the phone with Qin Shubai, I casually mentioned, I suddenly want to eat the meals you cook." That night, I, overwhelmed with work, walked out of the company gate. In the heavy snow, I saw Qin Shubai, who had just finished a meeting and looked tired after a 10-hour flight. He was wearing a black coat, tall and handsome, with gentle brows and eyes. "Let me cook for you." At that moment, I felt, both arranged marriages, but he seemed different from my father. After returning to the country, I suddenly wanted to celebrate my wedding anniversary, 5 years into marriage, a festival we had never celebrated. That day, I called Qin Shubai at the office. "Mr. Qin, can you save some time for me today? Wedding anniversary, shall we meet? I'm here to pick you up." I heard Qin Shubai's heavy and incredulous gasping on the phone, but I didn't see him. I was squeezed inside the deformed car. Just before losing consciousness completely, I heard the sound of an ambulance, and it seemed like I could also hear Qin Shubai's voice. 21. I slowly pressed my hand against my heart, feeling the beating heart. I could hear Qin Shubai's shallow breathing behind me. I turned around to face him. His long and thick eyelashes cast a small shadow on his youthful face. My fingers traced from his brow and eyes to the bridge of his nose and lips, whispering softly, "If I died in a car accident and came back with my memory lost, what about you? How did you come back?" Qin Shubai was sleeping soundly, so he naturally wouldn't answer me. I waited for quite a while. Finally, I saw the bullet screen. "What just got sent again? Is there something we can't see? Is the girl recovering her memory? Then we can also part ways." The barrage kept chattering for a while before finally giving me an answer as it faded away. "He donated all his assets and committed suicide after your funeral was over." My eyelids trembled, just as I thought. But why? Does love really carry such heavy weight? I don't understand. If it were me, I would absolutely never do that. In a moment of distraction, my finger was gently brushed. "What's wrong?" Qin Shubai spoke with a hint of nasality as if he hadn't fully woken up. "Qin Shubai, have you been secretly in love with me for many years?" I leaned against the pillow, getting close to him. Qin Shubai was completely awake, as if surprised that his secret was discovered, momentarily at a loss. "Why are you secretly in love with me?" My voice was very soft, with a hint of choked emotion. Qin Shubai and I looked at each other for a while, and he kissed my forehead. "Let me think about how to say it, then I'll confess to you." "Okay." 22. The next day after getting out of bed, I just left the room. I saw Qin Shubai bare-chested, serving porridge at the table. His back was covered with long and short ambiguous scratch marks. I blushed at the sight and turned to go into the bathroom to wash up. "I'll kill you, you lewd man without self-restraint. You're the peach blossom that Lin Mo mentioned, right? Did you seduce her, Jiangji?" "Calm down." While I was wiping my face, I suddenly heard the shouting and cursing outside. "Jiangji, Qin Ran, oh no, Qin Ran knows my home password." When I rushed out, what I saw was Qin Shubai, who had already put on his clothes and had a cold expression, as well as Jiangji, who was hoarse and exhausted, and Qin Ran, who was tugging at Jiangji. "My bad, Jiangji said he was going to see Grandpa, so I thought I would just come to pick you up, and didn't call ahead to come to your house." Qin Ran touched her nose and said shyly. My forehead twitched, and I helplessly looked at her. I saw her quietly give a thumbs up. "Lin Mo, you tell me, did he seduce you?" Jiangji pulled away Qin Ran's hand that was tugging at his collar and walked in front of me. Just as Qin Shubai was about to step forward, I stopped him. "Are you still protecting him? What do you see in him? His face, his figure?" Jiangji's eye sockets turned red, and the more she talked, the more excited she became. "I have it too, my face, my figure, I have it too." As Jiangji spoke, she tried to take off her clothes, but Qin Ran heavily slapped her on the back of her head. "Can't you act normally? What's with the show?" Jiangji was hit quite hard, and tears immediately flowed out. "I've liked you for so many years, to make you my girlfriend. I even spent money to hire Meng Yao to come up with a story about being dumped, just hoping that if we acted it out, it would become real." At that time, Qin Ran was abroad and was not aware of this matter. She was just surprised that Jiangji liked her. She had not realized it for so many years. On the contrary, Qin Shubai looked calm, as if he had seen it coming long ago. I recalled in my mind. I remembered when I was 24 and preparing to return home, Jiangji confessed to me. I refused. Later, he stayed abroad. Why did this scene happen ahead of schedule? 23. Jiangji, you might just be confusing our friendship with love. I looked at him and explained. It's impossible. If I were confused, then why don't I like Qin Ran? You want to die, right, Jiangji? seeing that the two were about to fight again, I immediately spoke up, Jiangji, I've always regarded you and Qin Ran as especially good friends. Jiangji pouted, both wronged and unconvinced. Then why does he deserve it? What makes him better than me? I sighed and slowly asked Jiangji a question. Do you know what I'm allergic to? Jiangji stopped sobbing and was stunned. Do you still have something you're allergic to? I turned to look at Chen Shubai. His voice was cold. Asparagus. I shifted my gaze back to Jiangji's face. I used to be allergic to asparagus in front of you once. You might have forgotten. Jiangji's nose twitched. About to cry again, Qin Ran, who could no longer stand it, gave me a reassuring look. He then roughly grabbed Jiangji by the collar and half-dragged, half-pulled him away. Soon, a crisp sound of a slap rang out from outside the door. Jiangji's crying stopped. 24. After the house returned to silence, Chen Shubai walked to the dining table and served me porridge. The sunlight streamed in through the floor-to-ceiling window. I walked closer to him little by little, stopping across the dining table. I looked at him with a smile. Mr. Chen, do you have time for me today? It's our wedding anniversary. How about a date? Bang, the ladle fell into the pot. And Chen Shubai seemed frozen, his head mechanically lifted little by little, the light in his eyes gradually gathered. He could barely speak a word before his voice fell silent. Why are you so surprised? Aren't you the same? I recalled all the memories. Before I finished speaking, I fell into someone's embrace. The force was so heavy, it felt like it wanted to embed me into the body. I quickly felt dampness on my neck. This person doesn't look like someone who cries a lot. I rubbed his hair. Chen Shubai, don't cry. We still have a long time ahead. 25. Later, I never saw any comments again. It was like an inexplicable adventure. After graduation, I still chose to study abroad for my master's degree. That was the school I wanted to go to. If I could do it again, I wouldn't change anything. Chen Shubai's company was also steadily developing. He became even more clingy than before. I come abroad as soon as I have time. Stay with me. Qin Ran has collaborated with many stars and has gained considerable fame in the photography industry. Jiangji still chose to stay abroad. At my wedding with Chen Shubai, I met him. He was sitting in the crowd and smiled at me. It's letting go, and also a blessing. After the wedding, Qin Ran gave me a gift box. Inside was the couple photos she took of me and Chen Shubai, the two of us when we were 19, 26. On our 29th wedding anniversary, Chen Shubai and I were in the villa. He was even more nervous than I was, holding my hand all the time. Relax, nothing will happen. That evening, news reported that a car driving under the influence sped on the Bay Bridge and crashed into the guardrail. That car hit me that day. I nodded and took his calculus workbook to write out the solutions. Chen Shubai closed his eyes briefly, let out a sigh, as if he had survived a catastrophe. Mo, we still have a long time to go. I hooked my arm around his neck. Yeah, there's still a long time, like tonight. Chen Shuabai's eyes were filled with desire as he picked me up from the sofa. Should I still wear a shirt? I raised an eyebrow. No, wear something else. Okay, I'll do whatever you say. Story 2. When Lu Yan stood up for the beautiful poor student for the third time, he was photographed and the photo was posted on the confession wall. The comment section was full of people speaking up for me. They criticized the poor student for being shameless and deliberately seducing others. They also blamed Lu Yan for not being able to distinguish right from wrong and being deceived by the green tea bitch, a derogatory term for a scheming girl. Only I could see the seriousness and tenderness in Lu Yan's eyes. After canceling the arranged marriage, I went abroad for further studies. My friend couldn't understand it and said, "Are you scared? Can't you deal with a green tea bitch?" I shook my head. It wasn't that I was scared. No one knew that this was my third rebirth. But it turned out that no matter how many times I tried, the ending was always the same. For someone who doesn't love you, even if they agree to an arranged marriage, they will only see it as a shackle. So, with mountains high and waters far, I wish Lu Yan his freedom. 1. Less than an hour after the photo was posted, a long thread of comments piled up. The most liked comment at the top was very intense. Zhou Qingzhu, do you have any shame? Aren't you tired of pestering someone else's boyfriend every day? The girl in the photo was beautiful and delicate, with red eyes. She was wearing a men's coat and timidly hiding behind a person. And that person was my boyfriend, Lu Yan. Lu Yan had a fierce look in his eyes, showing an extremely protective posture. This was already the third time he had been posted on the confession wall for standing up for Zhou Qingzhu. The comment section was in a heated argument. If someone is causing trouble while drunk, call the police or the security guards. What's the use of crying? She doesn't go for the work-study program provided by the school but has to work part-time in a hotel, hee. Instead of asking for help from her colleagues who are right beside her, she calls Lu Yan. We all know what her intentions are. The hotel is just a few steps away from the school, and there are streetlights all the way. She still pretends to be pitiful and asks Lu Yan to send her every day. I've never seen such a scheming girl. Lu Yan is also at fault. He can't tell right from wrong and is so easily deceived by this green tea bitch. I waited in the restaurant for a long time that day. I only received a text message. Jiwei, Qingzhu was scared and can't be left alone. I have to stay with her tonight, so I won't come to see you. This restaurant was a century-old establishment, and I had only managed to book a table a month in advance. At night, Zhou Qingzhu posted on Zaya Hongshu. In the photo, Zhou Qingzhu was leaning against Lu Yan with a happy smile. The background was the cinema that Lu Yan and I often went to. Watched a movie with my crush, he suggested it himself. The comments below were full of congratulations. Sister, you're amazing. According to my experience, he must have feelings for you. You're almost there, right? Zhou Qingzhu sent a shy emoji. Yeah, I looked at it for a long time and then called the restaurant. There's no need to reserve the table anymore. Yes, cancel it. Lu Yan knew how hard it was to queue up at this restaurant, and he also knew how long I had been preparing for today. But between the restaurant and the cinema, between Lin Jiwei and Zhou Qingzhu, Lu Yan chose the latter. 2. The first time I met Zhou Qingzhu was at the school anniversary party. As soon as the beautiful poor student stepped onto the stage, I instinctively turned to look at Lu Yan. Sure enough, Lu Yan was also looking at Zhou Qingzhu. His usually cold and sharp eyes softened, and he stared intently. The girl on the stage was wearing a red dress, looking warm and bold. The surrounding voices were noisy, with exclamations and applause. The host had a clear voice and asked half-jokingly, Qingzhu, when I first saw the program list, I thought it was a boy's name. After all, most girls' names are more gentle and elegant. Zhou Qingzhu smiled generously, with a hint of pride in her eyes. Who says a girl can't be named Qingzhu? Just like the bamboo that grows taller with each joint, I want to soar into the sky like this green bamboo. These words once again caused a round of applause. Qingzhu, so her name is Zhou Qingzhu. I heard Lu Yan beside me mutter to himself involuntarily. His eyes looking at the stage were full of admiration, and his gaze remained fixed. During the interaction session, Zhou Qingzhu smiled mischievously and pointed at Lu Yan. Then let's invite the lucky audience to come on stage and have an interaction with classmate Qingzhu. The host opened the note and read out the content drawn. Single-arm Princess Carrie. Lu Yan also stood up generously. His cheeks were slightly red, and he quickly stepped onto the stage amidst the jeers of the people around him. Lu Yan was so focused that he even forgot that I was sitting beside him. Zhou Qingzhu pretended to lose her balance and kissed Lu Yan on the left cheek. She cast a glance at me, with a provocative smile on her face. After that night, Zhou Qingzhu became famous for being a green tea bitch. My best friend was indignant. Why did she have to draw someone else's boyfriend? I think she did it on purpose. Everyone knows that you and Lu Yan are a famous couple on campus. 3. My best friend was right. In the eyes of others, Lu Yan and I were well matched. We had been engaged since childhood and were a perfect match, but no one knew that this was actually the third time I had met Lu Yan in different lives. In the first life, not long after I got married to Lu Yan, I died in a car accident before we could get to know each other well. In the second life, I didn't want to be a puppet in an arranged marriage, so I ran away. In the third year of living incognito in a small town, I was kidnapped by robbers who demanded a ransom. The incident became so big that the robbers took me into the mountains. I was beaten, insulted, and humiliated. Later, it was Lu Yan who saved me. He became a policeman and infiltrated alone, even losing an arm for it. I recognized him at first sight, but I didn't dare to speak and just pretended to be mute. Being saved by the person I had run away from in an arranged marriage made me feel ashamed and embarrassed. But Lu Yan was very kind to me. To avoid the robbers, we hid in a cave. He gave me all the food he had, fed me water, and bandaged my wounds. He also gently told me not to be afraid and that someone would come to our rescue soon. The better he treated me, the more bitter I felt in my heart, so when the robbers caught up, I rushed forward and took a knife for him. Lu Yan's face was filled with great surprise. His expression was complicated. He turned around and subdued the robber, and calmly stopped my bleeding. Lu Yan, can you promise me one thing? I spat out blood and felt my life force quickly fading away. You can say it, for the favor of saving your life. I will definitely do my best to fulfill it. I wanted to smile, but I couldn't lift the corners of my mouth. In the next life, I hope to meet you again, and I hope you will give me another chance. I shouldn't have been so willful as to run away from the arranged marriage, making Lu Yan the object of ridicule. I also shouldn't have been so willful as to go south, causing Lu Yan to get injured while saving me. I hope to meet you again in the next life, to atone for my sins and make up for my past mistakes. But now I understand that fate likes to play tricks on people and is the most heartless. In the second year after I ran away from the arranged marriage in the second life, Lu Yan officially announced his new girlfriend, who was Zhou Qingzhu. After being reborn, I accepted the arranged marriage at home. Lu Yan also obeyed his family and agreed to the arranged marriage, but it turned out that my joyous reunion was just a mistake. When the real heroine, Zhou Qingzhu, appeared, she still attracted all of Lu Yan's attention. I was like a thief. In the time when Zhou Qingzhu wasn't around, I stole the love that belonged to her, and now that the real owner was back, I looked so dark and despicable. With her dance at the party, Zhou Qingzhu stole the show. From that day on, Lu Yan, who had always been reluctant to participate in activities, unexpectedly appeared at various parties, and every time Zhou Qingzhu performed, she drew Lu Yan 8 out of 10 times. As the number of times increased, it inevitably led to gossip. Some people advised Lu Yan to refuse, but Lu Yan said that refusing would hurt the girl's feelings. Zhou Qingzhu didn't care at all. Even when she was called a green tea bitch to her face, she still smiled. The most excessive time was when the host egged them on to have a French kiss on the spot. The two on the stage, with the red dress and the black clothes, looked incredibly well matched. Yao yao. I'm going back to the dormitory first. If Lu Yan asks later, just tell him that I'm not feeling well and left first. Ji Wei, Chen Yao, my best friend, hesitated to speak. I then realized that without realizing it, my nails had dug several blood marks on my arm. This was a bad habit I had developed when I was anxious as a child. I silently raised my head and happened to meet Lu Yan's gaze. Lu Yan gently put his arm around the girl's waist to steady her. When he met my gaze, Lu Yan instinctively let go and frowned. He seemed to want to say something, but I had already turned around and left. When I walked out of the auditorium, I let out a sigh and threw the bracelet on my wrist into the lake with force. This was a gift that Lu Yan gave me when he first officially announced our relationship on his WeChat Moments. I cherished it very much and wore it every day. It had almost become my symbol, but just now, I also saw the same bracelet on Zhou Qingzhu's wrist. This brand was expensive and luxurious, a price that a poor student couldn't afford. It was easy to figure out who gave it to her. Zhou Qingzhu not only wanted Lu Yan to choose her between me and her but also wanted to take away the things that Lu Yan had given me. Perhaps, from the moment she appeared, I had already lost. 5. The photo on the confession wall was suddenly deleted by force after hanging there for half a day. It was Lu Yan who did it. When he called me, his tone was very cold. Did you deliberately ask someone to lead the rhythm in the comments? How long had it been since I heard him speak to me so impatiently? No, Lu Yan didn't believe me. Several of the accounts below are your friends. Did you or didn't you ask them to do it? There were more than 500 comments, and only 2 were posted by my friends who couldn't stand it. Now Lu Yan was putting all the blame on me. I could hear the faint crying of the girl on the other end of the phone. Accompanied by Lu Yan's gentle comfort, he was so gentle with Zhou Qingzhu, but when he turned to me, he was aggressive. I'll let it go this time. Don't do this again in the future. You're also a girl, even if you're jealous. There's no need to be so vicious. Lin Ji Wei, you've disappointed me so much. You're completely different from the person I first met. After hanging up the phone, I sat at the table in a daze. The person he first met, what was Lu Yan's impression of me at that time? At that time, the college entrance examination had just ended, and the Lu family had moved from the south to the north for development. The two families got together to discuss the engagement matters. The Lu family's intention was for me and Lu Yan to apply to the same university to cultivate our relationship, get engaged after graduation, and get married the next year. When there were only the two of us left in the private room, Lin Ji Wei, just by hearing the name. I can tell you're a boring person. This was the first sentence Lu Yan said to me. He asked me, racing, rock climbing, skiing, what can you do? I shook my head. My health isn't very good, and my family doesn't allow me to participate in these dangerous sports. Lu Yan was handsome and smiled casually. Oh, I see, you young ladies like those for fine things. piano, or painting. I could hear the sarcasm in Lu Yan's tone. He lifted my chin and commented, "You look quite cute, but unfortunately, I like wild girls." That night, my joyous reunion was met with Lu Yan's contempt. I had made a lot of efforts because of Lu Yan's words. I wore smoky makeup, sexy halter tops, and learned dynamic dance. I made a mess of myself just for that word wild. But it wasn't until I saw Zhou Qingzhu that I understood what Lu Yan meant by that. The wild he mentioned turned out to mean confident, bold, warm, and daring, and I was gentle and liked to be quiet, which was exactly the type that Lu Yan disliked the most. I once felt complacent that I had spent 3 years making Lu Yan gentle towards me, but it turned out that someone could get his favor just by the first impression. 6. The more you try to silence people, the more rebellious they will become. The confession wall photo was deleted, but the school forum spread the news even more vigorously, especially when someone happened to see Zhou Qingzhu and Lu Yan sharing an ice cream. Perhaps it was out of a sense of justice, or perhaps it was to fan the flames. In the end, Zhou Qingzhu was pushed to the center of the storm and became a mistress that everyone despised. When she came to me with red eyes, she couldn't control her emotions and shouted, "How embarrassed I am now! How glorious you are! Everyone who sees me can scold me, your classmates stand up for you, your friends speak up for you, the whole world is on your side. Are you only satisfied when I'm completely disgraced?" I was silent for a long time in the face of such accusations, although it seemed that I had won a great victory in this public opinion battle. In fact, I looked at Zhou Qingzhu and said softly, "Even if the whole world supports and protects me, Lu Yan is on your side, right?" The next day, all the related posts on the school forum were deleted. Lu Yan posted a status, taking all the public opinion blame on himself. Zhou Qingzhu was portrayed as a tough and self-reliant poor student. Lu Yan admired her, so he was willing to lend a helping hand, even to clear her name as a mistress. Lu Yan said that he had already broken up with me privately and was currently single. As soon as this statement was made, the public opinion instantly reversed. Lu Yan came to me, and his tone was a bit unnatural. "It's just a temporary solution, it's a fake breakup. When the public opinion calms down, we can get back together, otherwise, there's no way." I interrupted him. "There's no way to explain sharing an ice cream, and there's no way to explain going racing together in couple outfits, right?" Lu Yan suddenly raised his head, and his tone became stern. "How do you know? Did you secretly follow me?" I didn't say anything. There was no need to follow him. Lu Yan's group of friends had never liked me and had always excluded me, so when Zhou Qingzhu appeared, there were always people who would take the initiative to tell me and make fun of me. My best friend was so angry that she was shaking when she saw it. They've only known each other for a few days, and he's already taking her racing, and she's sitting on Lu Yan's most precious motorcycle. As she spoke, my best friend's eyes turned red, and her voice choked up. "Back then, when you just wanted to touch it, you were scolded so harshly. How can she get on it so easily now?" 7. I thought back to that motorcycle. Its body was sleek, and it was very expensive, just as arrogant and sharp as its owner. At that time, I had been dating Lu Yan for a year. When he went racing, I would sit beside him and read quietly. When he went skiing, I would prepare hot tea for him to moisten his throat. Lu Yan went from being disgusted at first to finally acquiescing and indulging. Later, he would even take the initiative to invite me to watch a play or go to a bookstore. "Your young lady's temper is actually quite good." Lu Yan's tone was hard to decipher. I knew he wasn't really praising me, so I just smiled gently. Once, when he was racing, he suddenly asked me, "Do you dare to get on?" I shook my head. My health wasn't good, and my family had never allowed me to participate in such intense sports. Lu Yan sneered and said, "You're such a coward, at worst. I'll ride slowly and make sure I don't scare you." Just then, Lu Yan's friends happened to come over. They saw Lu Yan leaning against the car, and I was standing beside him quietly. Then they started winking and laughing. "Brother Lu, you're going to take sister-in-law for a ride. You even brought out this car. You're really willing to part with it." Someone beside them chimed in, "This car is your baby. You never use it except for top-level competitions. We're not even allowed to try it usually." Sure enough, things are different when you have a wife. Before, Brother Lu treated the car like his wife. Now that his real wife is here, of course, sister-in-law is more important now. Ha ha ha. I blushed from the teasing. I didn't know that this car was so important to Lu Yan. Just as I was about to refuse, I heard Lu Yan's cold tone first. "Who said I'm taking her? She's a delicate young lady, as soon as she sits on it, Her legs will go weak from fear. My car isn't for just anyone to touch. The few people were a bit embarrassed by Lu Yan's merciless words. After making some awkward jokes, they quickly left. After everyone left, Lu Yan called out to me, as if he wanted to say something, but I waited for a long time, and there was no follow-up. I sighed and said, "Don't worry, although I have an engagement with you, I'm not an unreasonable person. I won't threaten you in the name of your girlfriend. If you don't want me to, I won't have any contact with this car." Lu Yan stared at me for a while before looking away, and his tone was even colder than before. "Good that you know." 8. It turned out that Lu Yan wasn't that cold to everyone. The racing incident was just the beginning. During the break, Lu Yan's brothers pulled me into a group chat and eagerly reported one after another. "It was my birthday last week. Lu Yan said he would bring his female companion. I thought it was you. But it turned out to be Zhou Qingzhu. She even gave a gift in the manner of a legitimate girlfriend. Lin Jiwei, what's going on with you? Are you being bullied like this by a poor student?" Not only that, I also ran into the two of them while shopping yesterday. A man made some flirtatious remarks to Zhou Qingzhu. Lu Yan's face turned so dark that he almost beat the guy to death. TSK. He looked like his wife had been harassed. However, I think Zhou Qingzhu is quite nice. She's beautiful, has a hot figure, can act coquettishly and be tough. She goes bungee jumping and rock climbing with Lu Yan without missing any of them. Their personalities really match. Look, he's always bringing Zhou Qingzhu around recently and hasn't taken Lin Jiwei, the legitimate girlfriend, out for a long time. After hundreds of messages flooded the screen, everyone seemed to realize that I hadn't said anything. They pretended to console me. "Of course, Jiwei, we're still on your side, after all. Everything should follow the order of first come, first served. That's right, you've had an engagement with Lu Yan since childhood, and your families are well matched. How long can that poor student be proud of with her green tea tricks? Lu Yan has just been bewitched. He'll come to his senses in a few days." There wasn't much sincerity in these consolations. I knew they were waiting to see me make a fool of myself, waiting for me to break down and go crazy. They were waiting for me to teach the green tea bitch a lesson and watching me have a huge fight with Zhou Qingzhu. But this time they were all wrong. I sent a message to Lu Yan with just 3 short words: "Let's break up." 9. After class, I returned to the dormitory. There was a thermal box on my desk. When I opened it, a delicious aroma filled the air. My roommates looked at the thermal box in front of me with envy in their voices. "Lu Yan had someone bring this at noon. He said it would be just right for you to drink when you got back from class. Lu Yan is so good to you. Even though he's not at school, he still remembers to send you something." That's right, he's much better than my boyfriend. Last time I asked him to bring me milk tea, and he actually refused because it was too far away. There were rumors on campus about the ambiguity between Zhou Qingzhu and Lu Yan. Some people specifically came to remind me to be careful not to be stolen from, lose my boyfriend, but my roommates didn't take it to heart, especially when they saw the thermal box in front of me at this moment. They were even more dismissive. "Jiwei, have more confidence in yourself. In terms of family background and appearance, which aspect of you isn't outstanding?" Even Lu Yan, who was so cold and irritable at the beginning, is now tamed by you like a dog. "Don't worry, that little green tea bitch Zhou Qingzhu won't amount to anything." No one believed that I would lose to a poor student. Everyone was certain that I would win a great victory, but the breakup text message was really sent out, and I had really decided to give up. I had naively thought that being reborn was a gift from heaven. But it turned out that no matter how many times I tried, the ending was the same. For someone who doesn't love you, even if they agree to an arranged marriage, they will only see it as a shackle. So, with mountains high and waters far, I wish Lu Yan his freedom. 10. Until evening, Lu Yan didn't reply to my message. Someone knocked on the door and said that someone was looking for me downstairs. I had a premonition in my heart. When I went downstairs, I indeed saw a familiar figure. As soon as Lu Yan saw me, he walked quickly towards me. "Why did you come out like this? Your health isn't good, and you can't catch a cold at night." Lu Yan took off his coat and wanted to put it on me, but I, who had always been obedient, didn't take it this time. As I stepped back, Lu Yan's coat fell to the ground. His face froze for a moment, but he quickly acted as if nothing had happened. "By the way, I specially made soup for you. You saw it, right? It's good for your health. If you like it, I'll send it to you again tomorrow." "Lu Yan," I interrupted him and said calmly, "didn't you see the text message I sent you?" Lu Yan paused for a moment but didn't answer. Instead, he just said to himself, I've been very busy these days and haven't been able to accompany you, but I'll be free later. You've always wanted to go to that restaurant, right? I'll go with you. We can also go on a trip and go to the beach later. I'll accompany you to pick up seashells, okay? I couldn't understand how Lu Yen could say these words without blushing. No, I took a step back, stared at Lu Yen, and said word by word, these are things that lovers should do. We've already broken up. As soon as the words fell, the air around us seemed to freeze. Lu Yan's face lost its smile, and the moonlight cast shadows on his face through the leaves. He had a blank expression, a calm tone, but it was rather eerie. Lin Jiwei. I didn't agree. Take back those words. 11. But I didn't move. I still said the same thing. We've already broken up. Lu Yen punched the tree beside him. What on earth are you making a fuss about? He strode forward. His grip on my wrist was very strong, and it hurt. I struggled, and my wrist hurt so much that I couldn't help but cry out in pain. Lu Yen relaxed his strength a bit, kneaded the red mark on my wrist, and his tone calmed down. Is it because of the rumors on campus? Or did my friends say something bad again? Lu Yen seemed to have figured it out and became confident. Or is it because of Zhou Qingzhu? Her family situation isn't good, and she's been taking on various part-time jobs. I didn't expect to see her at the ski resort, and she even has excellent skills. When we met on the street that day, she was harassed, and of course I had to step in. I would help any girl in that situation. I knew I couldn't break free by force, so I stopped struggling and said softly, please let go of me first. Sure enough, being submissive was more effective than being tough. Lu Yen released the arms that had trapped me. I took a deep breath. I'm not throwing a tantrum. You don't need to explain these things to me either. I'm not being impulsive. I've thought about it for a long time these days, and we're really not suitable for each other. Neither of us said anything, and the air was eerily quiet. I exhaled and continued. Moreover, our relationship was originally a combination of interests. When we first met, you didn't like me either. It's been 3 years of entanglement, and it's been a last resort. So, cancel the arranged marriage and let's break up. This is better for both of us. It was hard to describe Lu Yan's expression at this moment. He stared at me for a long time, as if he had sensed the determination in my tone. A sneer suddenly rang out. Lu Yan raised his chin, and all the angry questions from before seemed to disappear. He was still in control of the situation. Looking down on me from above, break up. The word being dumped doesn't exist in my Lu Yan's dictionary. If we cancel the arranged marriage, you remember, it's the Lu family that doesn't want you because you're arrogant, picky, and narrow-minded. Lu Yan's gaze seemed to want to devour me, and his tone was extremely harsh. Moreover, for a woman that I, Lu Yan, don't want, I'd like to see who in the circle dares to take her. Your Lin family wants to expand into the northern market, right? Without the arranged marriage, I'm afraid you'll have to pay an even more astonishing price. After saying these words, it was obvious that Lu Yan had completely gained the upper hand. He lifted my chin, with a mischievous smile, as if casually, Lin Jiwei, I can pretend that these words today never existed. You're still my girlfriend, and I'll still marry you after graduation, and I'll still help the Lin family. As far as I know, the Lin family has put a lot of effort into you, right? Your father still has several illegitimate daughters outside. Do you want to be a stable and wealthy Mrs. Lu, or be an abandoned child hated by the Lin family? You can choose for yourself. I looked at Lu Yan quietly. We've been in a relationship for 3 years. Can't you even leave me with the last bit of dignity? Lu Yan's expression froze for a moment, and he almost turned his head away in embarrassment. He covered my eyes. Jiwei, don't look at me with that kind of gaze. Lu Yan's voice was muffled, and his throat was hoarse. I said that this matter is over. Let's go back to the way we were before, okay? The marriage alliance between the Lin and Lu families won't change. And I'm still your boyfriend. 12, of course, it's not okay. I was very puzzled. Why was Lu Yan so certain that I would give in? Do you remember the words you said when we first met? What are you doing putting on such an act now? You disliked my poor health and my quiet and boring personality. In your eyes, being obedient is a derogatory term. You like excitement and wild personalities. You want someone to accompany you in racing, skiing, and doing all kinds of exciting sports. And I'm the one who least meets the requirements. Companionship off the field can't compare to the mutual understanding on the field. The racetrack is very noisy, and the ski resort is also very cold. Reading a book there is the most unsuitable choice. Lu Yan looked up, and his face was rarely stunned. I was also looking at him, and my tone was very soft. I don't want to read a book by the side anymore. And I don't want to accompany you either. 13. Lu Yan and I were at a stalemate for a long time, until he left. He still didn't agree to cancel the arranged marriage. We no longer went to class together, and we no longer had meals together. When Lu Yan played basketball, I no longer wiped his sweat or handed him water. When I painted in the classroom, Lu Yan no longer appeared by my side. Some nosy people couldn't help but ask Lu Yan if he had quarreled with me. Lu Yan didn't even lift his head and just sneered, since he didn't respond. Naturally someone would come to ask me. I smiled gently. Yes, we broke up. So you broke up, I thought. Broke up. Soon, this news spread throughout the campus. There were high-profile posts on the forum, and the most popular post had the title, "I hate this world where green tea bitches are in power. They've destroyed another one of my favorite couples again." It was filled with a lot of photos. There were photos of Lu Yan giving a princess carry on the stage and photos of Zhou Qingzhu deliberately kissing his cheek. The comments below were indignant, full of pity and sympathy for me. Lu Yan probably didn't expect that I would directly say the words of breaking up. He sent me a message with just a few short words. "Lin Jiwei, you have a heartless enough." I soon knew why Lu Yan sent this message, because he would do something even more ruthless than me. 14. Lu Yan directly posted a status on WeChat Moments. "From now on, anyone who dares to date Lin Jiwei is against me." This short sentence triggered countless intense speculations. Some people said that Lu Yan and I just had a quarrel and would get back together once the anger subsided. Others said that Lu Yan hated me and wouldn't let me go even after we broke up. No matter what people speculated, it was obvious that this WeChat Moments post had a great effect. Lu Yan had a good family background, many friends, and a hot temper, and few people dared to offend him. After that day, no boy dared to get within 5 meters of me, especially after a boy accidentally bumped into me and was severely taught a lesson by Lu Yan. The boys didn't even dare to talk to me. Lu Yan's friends made a big fuss in the group chat. "Lin Jiwei, seriously, you really broke up, you're using retreat as an advance." But Lu Yan isn't someone who can be threatened. Be careful that he gets too angry and really abandons you. Lu Yan's friends really knew him best. After I publicly announced the breakup, Lu Yan held a single party the next moment. He invited the whole class to Disneyland to celebrate his return to being single. He was telling me in this way that I shouldn't play around and say we're breaking up, because he would do something even more ruthless than me. The two of us were like we were competing, both trying to act as if we didn't care. But I really didn't care anymore and didn't pretend either. A classmate sent me an audio recording. It was from the single party. The voices in the audio were noisy. Someone couldn't help but ask, "Lu Yan, the little girlfriend arranged for you by your family is both obedient and beautiful. Why did you break up with her so easily? You really don't know how lucky you are." That's right. If Lin Jiwei were my girlfriend, I'd definitely stick with her every day. Her looks are really amazing. Could it really be because of Zhou Qingzhu? I have to say something about you. It's okay to play around with a green tea bitch, but if you really want to marry someone, it should be someone like Lin Jiwei with a well-matched family background. The few people were teasing each other, and their voices sounded very young. Okay, Lu Yan's voice was drunk. "If you want her, go ahead and take her. That kind of young lady is delicate and boring. She only knows how to read and study and has no fun at all. Moreover, she has asthma and can't do any intense exercise." These words were ambiguous, and there was a burst of laughter in the room. "What kind of exercise? Lu Yan, don't leave us hanging." "Intense? Then wouldn't even a kiss be life-threatening? Seriously, you can only look but not touch. That's really, I'd rather not have a girlfriend than find a young lady like that." I turned off the audio and didn't listen to the rest. The study abroad application in front of me had already been filled out. I received a call on my phone from my father, and his tone was cold. "Come home, look at the good thing you've done." 15. When I got home, I was punished to kneel in the living room. My father was so angry that his eyes seemed to be on fire. He took a bamboo board and whipped it at me. He cursed me for not knowing what was good for me and for not trying to please Lu Yan properly. My mother had always been timid, but this time she unexpectedly threw herself on me. Even so, my father didn't hold back. My mother protected me, and the bamboo board landed heavily on her thin and weak back. I stood up, not knowing where I got the courage from, and grabbed the wooden board and threw it out fiercely. Two pairs of similar eyes stared at each other across the air. My father's eyes widened in shock, and he could hardly catch his breath. As if he had aged in an instant, he sat down wearily. "Jiwei, do you know how many benefits the Lin family can get from the marriage alliance with the Lu family? He must have had someone investigate the whole story, and his voice softened a bit. Zhou Qingzhu, that poor student, is nothing to worry about. The Lin family has trained you for so many years. If you can't even deal with someone like her, you'll really disappoint me. I looked at him coldly, but why should I fight with her? Was it to compete for Lu Yan, to fight for a man who didn't love me? My tone was indifferent. Father, didn't you already leave a backup plan? How many illegitimate daughters are you hiding outside? 2 or 3. To you, I'm just a tool. These words completely enraged my father. He called in the security guards, and 2 people held me down while they whipped me until my back was covered in blood. I was punished to kneel all night. And in the middle of the night, I couldn't hold on and developed a high fever. When I woke up, I saw my mother's red and swollen eyes. My mother had lived a hard life. She was timid by nature, didn't like to compete, and was content with the status quo. So she endured my father's infidelity and domestic violence in silence. But now, she held my hand and said firmly, Jiwei, I saw your application for studying abroad. Mom will go abroad with you, as if to comfort me. My mother tried to force a smile. I've already secretly been looking for a lawyer to prepare for things like property and equity. I'd been ready to get a divorce for a long time, but at that time, you still had the marriage with the Liu family. I could tell that you liked that boy from the Liu family, right? My mother's voice was so gentle, but I felt like crying when I heard it. It turned out that it wasn't just me who was trapped in these 3 years, but also my mother. I shook my head. I don't like him anymore. I diluted the little bit of sweetness from the previous life and drank it for 3 whole years. I drank until there was no sweetness left, until I no longer wanted to deceive myself. The sweet water was gone, and my fate with Lu Yan was also over. 16. I booked a flight for next week. While packing my things, I received a phone call. It was one of Lu Yan's friends, and his tone was a bit dissatisfied. Hey, Lin Jiwei, it's okay to have a little tantrum, but don't overdo it. Don't make things ugly for everyone. Zhou Qingzhu, that little green tea bitch, disgusts me to death. Come back quickly. Oh, and remember to bring more beef jerky. It turned out that the last sentence was the key point. I like to be quiet, and in my free time, I would study cooking. In order to fit into Lu Yan's circle of friends, I tried hard to please them. I would always prepare for a long time in advance, until my back ached from exhaustion, just to get their approval. But now, I'm not that stupid anymore. Buy it yourself if you want to eat it. I've already broken up with Lu Yan. Don't contact me again in the future. After saying that, without waiting for the other person's reply, I blocked him directly. In the afternoon, I suddenly received a takeout. It was a particularly beautiful and fresh bunch of yellow roses. I called the number of the sender, and it turned out to be Lu Yan. The moment I heard his voice, I wanted to hang up the phone. But looking at the roses in my arms, I pursed my lips. Did you send the flowers? Lu Yan must have been smoking, as I heard the sound of a lighter. After a while, his voice came over, as if he didn't care at all. What flowers? Are they nice? I didn't know what kind of game Lu Yan was playing this time. I replied calmly, they're not nice. Don't send any more. Even if I throw them away, it will cause trouble for others. There was a moment of silence on the other end. And then Lu Yan's voice sounded, Lin Jiwei. Don't you think I sent you the flowers? His tone was extremely exaggerated, as if he had heard a very funny joke. I just wrote the wrong address. You don't think I still have feelings for you after we broke up, do you? I nodded in understanding. They were meant for Zhou Qingzhu, right? She should like them. I wish you both happiness and a long and happy marriage. My words somehow annoyed Lu Yan again. The pretense of being indifferent was gone, and his tone was a bit irritated. Is it interesting, hiding at home all day and not showing your face, and saying such mean words to provoke me? Lin Jiwei, you really know how to make me angry. I didn't understand how the words of wishing him and Zhou Qingzhu happiness were mean. Lu Yan took a few deep breaths, and his tone calmed down. I don't believe you can hide at home for the rest of your life. I'll settle the score with you on the day of the graduation ceremony. Lu Yan hung up the phone after saying that. I pursed my lips, a bit stunned, but Lu Yan was wrong. I had already booked my flight ticket. I wouldn't go to the graduation ceremony, and he wouldn't be able to take revenge on me in person. 17. As soon as the plane landed, I saw the person who came to pick us up. My mother had already bought a house abroad, and it had been cleaned up. When I woke up from my sleep, I received a message from my best friend. She patted her chest and promised, Jiwei, don't worry, on the day of the graduation ceremony, I'll pick up your graduation certificate for you. I smiled and said thank you again. There were still a few months before the foreign school started. During this period, I decided to explore the surroundings and see what parks and delicious restaurants were nearby. When I was bored and scrolling through Xiaohongshu, I came across Zhou Qingzhu's post again. The picture was a large bunch of red roses. The title of the post revealed a hint of shyness, sent by my crush. What does this mean? The comment section exploded, and people joked with her. Sister, in your city, do you call your partner crush? What does it mean? It means he likes you. If this isn't love, I'll stand on my head and wash my hair. No way, no way, there are already roses, and you're still not together. This guy is so shy. Zhou Qingzhu replied quickly. We're not together yet. But I heard he will confess to me at the graduation ceremony. The comment section was filled with comments about how romantic it was. Zhou Qingzhu sent a shy emoji. I'll post one last post on the day of the graduation ceremony, and then the crush series will end. Happy. It has to be said that big data is really powerful. I don't have Zhou Qingzhu's contact information, but every post she makes gets pushed in front of me. Before, I would feel stuffy in my chest, sad, and uneasy when I saw her posts. But now, I didn't feel the slightest bit of disturbance. The graduation ceremony, a public confession. Zhou Qingzhu's crush series ended completely. I also completely let go of the feelings for those 3 years. 18. Soon, the day of the graduation ceremony arrived. My best friend live-streamed for me and showed me the graduation certificate and degree certificate she picked up on my behalf. Time really flies. In the blink of an eye, we've graduated from university. After chatting with my best friend for a few words, I heard the noise behind her. The camera turned, and I saw Lu Yan's stiff face. His hair was swept up, revealing his handsome eyebrows and eyes. He seemed to have dressed up carefully, but for some reason, he looked restless and kept looking around, as if searching for something. I heard someone beside him urging, Brother Lu, it's time to confess. Not far from him, Zhou Qingzhu was wearing a dress and had a delicate makeup. She looked towards Lu Yan's direction from time to time, with a shy look in her eyes. My best friend joined me in watching the drama. I heard that Lu Yan is going to confess to Zhou Qingzhu. He ordered 999 roses yesterday, and it's going to happen on the playground. But it's strange. Usually, for a confession, people use red roses. But Lu Yan bought all yellow roses instead. I thought of the flowers that were sent to the wrong address that afternoon and understood. Maybe Zhou Qingzhu likes them, so he could ignore the worldly rules and just send her the flowers she liked. My best friend sighed. I don't understand the taste of rich people. In my opinion, it would be better to buy 999 boxes of chocolates. It not only represents love but also isn't a waste. After looking at the certificates, I turned off the live stream. I didn't want to have anything to do with Lu Yan anymore, and I didn't want to see Zhou Qingzhu looking complacent either. How they confessed and how intimate and romantic they were had nothing to do with me anymore. 19. But even though I didn't want to pay attention, I would always find out for other reasons. After blocking Zhou Qingzhu's main account, Big Data pushed her secondary account to me. Sure enough, just as she said, Lu Yan confessed to her with 999 roses at the graduation ceremony. In the photo, the two of them were huddled together, looking very intimate, but Zhou Qingzhu was holding the yellow roses. Although she tried to raise the corners of her mouth, her smile looked forced, and Lu Yan had a blank expression, looking towards the school gate and not knowing what he was thinking. The secondary account didn't update very frequently, probably once a week. At first, the tone was excited and happy. Went to the aquarium with my boyfriend and saw the cute jellyfish babies. Went to a popular internet-famous restaurant with my boyfriend today. The food was really good. Sent my boyfriend a loving late-night snack. I'll also make loving breakfasts for him in the future. Hee. Later, the updates became more and more mean and angry. Was called a mistress by that bitch's friend again today. It's so funny. The one who isn't loved is the mistress. I just came along a bit late. My boyfriend has been more and more perfunctory towards me recently. No wonder he was bewitched by that fox outside. Hee. If I catch her, she won't get away with it. I want to kill someone. Why does he still call that bitch's name when he's drunk? We're clearly together, so why does he still think of someone else? No matter what, he's still mine now. There's no way he can go abroad to find that bitch. It's so funny, since I could snatch him away back then. I can keep him now. The updates became slower and slower later, and each post showed a kind of hysteria. And just a week ago, Zhou Qingzhu posted her last post. It was very calm, with just a short line of words, we broke up. he proposed it, and I agreed. 20. The day I returned to China was a rainy day. My father was seriously ill and wanted to see me one last time. I agreed. After this meeting, the father-daughter relationship in this life would come to an end. I didn't expect to see Lu Yan outside the ward. He had lost weight, although he was still handsome. There was a hint of decadence between his eyebrows and eyes. He looked at me, hesitated, and stepped forward to ask me, "Ji Wei, long time no see, can we talk?" Standing on the balcony of the hospital, I looked at the raindrops outside the window. "Just say what you want to say directly." Lu Yan was silent for a long time before his voice trembled. "You know who the 999 yellow roses at the graduation ceremony were prepared for. The language of yellow roses is an apology, Ji Wei. The person I was waiting for that day was always you." I turned to look at Lu Yan. Lu Yan stood stiffly, stubbornly staring at me. "I don't know." I repeated it again. "I don't know, Lu Yan, I'm not a god, I can't guess everything." Maybe I guessed that the yellow roses sent as takeout that afternoon were for me, so I didn't throw them away immediately but called to ask. But Lu Yan never knew how to speak properly. He couldn't let go of his pride and wouldn't bow his head. He always used hurtful words to hide his true feelings, so he said they were for Zhou Qingzhu. Why shouldn't I believe him? Lu Yan's eyes turned red all of a sudden. 3 years, Ji Wei, we were together for 3 years. Why won't you give me a chance? Just because of Zhou Qingzhu, you made trouble with me, cancelled the marriage alliance, and went abroad. Is this what you call love for me? Lin Ji Wei, your love can't stand the test. You don't love me as much as you think you do. It turned out that when a person was extremely angry, they really could laugh. You say I don't love you, you question my feelings. Then what about you? Do you love me? For 3 years, I, who hated extreme sports so much, accompanied you for a whole 3 years. The ski resort is very cold, and the wind at the bungee jumping spot is also very strong. If there wasn't love, what was my sacrifice in these 3 years? You said the roses were for me, but since I didn't come, you still gave them to Zhou Qingzhu. Lu Yan, your love is very cheap, it can be divided in two, and there's always a backup. Lu Yan stood there for a long time, as if struck by lightning. I thought you always came to me because you were threatened by your family. Every time you appeared, you attracted everyone's attention. My friends seemed indifferent to you on the surface, but actually they chased after me for your contact information. I was just uneasy. A person like you, why would you fall in love with me? Love at first sight, that reason is too cheap. Tears fell from the corners of Lu Yan's eyes, and he stared at me stubbornly. So I used Zhou Qingzhu to test you. If you could tolerate her and still not leave me, then I could truly feel at ease in my heart. My heart ached. I never thought it would be this reason. Lu Yan didn't know about our previous lives and didn't believe in my feelings, so he tested me with such hurtful methods again and again, forcing me to give in and back down. But people's hearts are made of flesh. I couldn't always guess Lu Yan's thoughts correctly. Well, with mountains high and waters far, I wish Lu Yan his freedom. I'm feeling tired, I said, not wanting to argue with Lu Yan anymore. After walking out for a long time, Lu Yan's trembling voice came. Can't we really start over? I turned around and shook my head. Lu Yan's face instantly fell. You don't want my roses, and you don't want me either. If a few roses were supposed to offset the countless sorrows and grievances in the past, then I'd rather not have them. I don't regret my past with Lu Yan. It's a part of my life that has made me who I am, but I need to look forward even more. Once a rose is picked, it will wither. Once something hurtful is done, there will be scars, and I will plant my own roses that will never wither. Story 2. After the female lead's death, Hua Chun, the crown prince of the Hua family who was once clear as the breeze and bright as the moon, began to indulge in drinking, racing, and hating me. Hua Chun hated me and had me confined, on the anniversary of the female lead's death every year, late at night. He would come to torment me over and over again. Yuan Jiao Jiao, why wasn't it you who died? Later on, I really did die. After my death, I was reborn and returned to 10 years ago. At that time, the female lead was still alive. I took the initiative to break up, to let him have his love, but he burst into my home like a madman. His eyes were bloodshot and obsessive. Yuan Jiao Jiao, you are mine, you were in the past life, and in this life, you cannot think of leaving me. 01. Only when I died in childbirth did I realize that the world I was in was a tragic novel. I was the villainous side character who prevented the main characters from being together. Even though I grew up as childhood sweethearts with the male lead and eventually married him, I never won his heart. In the end, I died in the delivery room trying to bear his child. Yuan Jiaojiao, you are not allowed to die. Why do you die when I haven't tormented you enough? I drifted aside while Huiqing frantically shook my corpse on the hospital bed. He truly hated me. If given another chance, I would definitely not fall for him again. With this thought, I found myself swept away by a tremendous force. When I woke up, I was in the old Yuan family mansion, in a pure white princess room arranged by my parents. The girl in the mirror was young and fresh, with a tender and naive face. I was back to 10 years ago. There was a missed call from Huiqing on my phone. And for the first time, I did not call him back. 02, my name is Yuan Jiaojiao, the only daughter of the Yuan family in the capital, raised with utmost affection and indulgence. My engagement to Huiqing was verbally agreed upon in our childhood. Our elders assumed that once we graduated, they would hold an engagement ceremony for us. After getting engaged, they sent us abroad together for postgraduate studies. After completing our studies, we were to marry and each inherit our family's businesses. A perfect match, childhood sweethearts. According to the elders, Huiqing and I would be the most envied and happy couple in the capital's social circles. But then Chu Lin appeared. From the moment she entered school, she fell for Huiqing. Despite him already having a girlfriend, she approached him relentlessly, pursuing him. Initially, when Chu Lin confessed her feelings, Huiqing, with a furrowed brow, told her he had a girlfriend and even pulled me in front of her to show. Later, when Chu Lin gave up on him, he began to feel anxious and insecure. He said he had never seen a woman as carefree as Chu Lin. Gradually, he lost himself in Chu Lin's relentless pursuit. Chu Lin, like a blazing fire, rolled through Huiqing's life, which should have been smooth and prosperous, leaving it completely unrecognizable. Even after her death, he remembered her for a lifetime, and he hated me for a lifetime, tormenting me for a lifetime. 03. In this life, the female lead Chu Lin still appeared. On the first day of school, she arrived at the school gate riding a Harley. In February, she wore a black tight sweater and skinny jeans, her chestnut short hair framing her face, capturing the attention of all the boys with just one glance, including my boyfriend, Huiqing. Huiqing, do you think she's beautiful? I suddenly became curious, a question I had never asked in my previous life. Too ostentatious, I don't like it. Huiqing replied almost without thinking. A friend joked. In Huiqing's heart, you're the most beautiful. Huiqing didn't argue but merely hooked his lips lightly. In the eyes of our friends, this was an affirmation. They held in excitement. Huiqing, you're so whipped. Jiaojiao is blushing. Huiqing is definitely going to be whipped by his girlfriend, and surely by his wife later. Huiqing let them tease, slightly bowed his head to tuck my stray hair behind my ear, and I shyly lowered my head in response. In my ears, the sound of Huiqing's heartbeat, the laughter and teasing of friends, was like the most passionate youth anthem of a summer day, yet my mood was as cold as ice. The chill was bone-piercing. Just moments ago, when Chu Lin smiled, I witnessed the astonishment in Huiqing's eyes. It was brief, but it was a look I had only seen once before. At my 16th birthday party, Huiqing attended with the elders of the Hua family. Encouraged by my mother, I performed a solo dance to Swan Lake. That night, Huiqing found me in the glass room under the moonlight. He said, Yuan Jiaojiao, your ballet just now was the most beautiful dance I have ever seen. I believed him, my face flushing red under the moonlight, but as it turned out, there is no most beautiful. Chu Lin's cha-cha at the school anniversary entered his heart and stayed there for a lifetime. As expected, Chu Lin was set to perform at this year's school anniversary celebration. I suddenly became curious. What would the outcome of this life be if I hadn't stubbornly pursued a relationship with Huiqing? When the list of hosts for the anniversary was confirmed, and Huiqing was one of them, he invited me to co-host. I declined, citing a busy academic schedule. My roommate mentioned that a freshman from the performing arts department was on the list of hosts, and I just smiled faintly. Chu Lin wouldn't miss any opportunity to get close to Huiqing. I didn't attend the celebration. I could list all the performances with my eyes closed. The celebration ended at 10:30 p.m., and my roommates returned early, their faces pale, sitting down to tell me in shock about the horrific scene of Chu Lin covered in blood from a light fixture falling on her. On the outside, I showed a shocked expression, but inside, I was unmoved. No one knew better than me how painful it was to have lights fall on one's legs, because in a past life, it was I who lay in a pool of blood. And Chu Lin was the instigator. She had timed it hoping to hit Huiqing, who was co-hosting with her, and then play the hero to get close to him. But a delay in the previous performance changed the timing, and it hit me instead. I lay in the emergency room for 48 hours before my life was saved, but my legs suffered chronic injuries, preventing me from ever running and jumping like normal people, let alone dancing. The Black Swan variation at the school celebration became my last dance in that previous life. In this life, it was Chu Lin who was injured. Hu Qing accompanied me to visit her in the hospital. Standing in front of Chu Lin's hospital bed, tears fell as I returned her words from a past life back to her. Junior sister, you must rebuild well, even if you cannot dance in the future. There is still a beautiful future ahead. Although my words were gentle and full of positive energy, Chu Lin's face turned even paler after hearing them. She bit her lip hard, giving Hu Qing a miserable look as if she had been struck a heavy blow. How ironic, she knew the pain now, didn't she? The original speaker of those words had been her, and I had only changed one word. Senior sister, you must rebuild well. Even if you cannot dance in the future, there is still a beautiful future ahead. Seeing the humiliated expression on her face, I felt a deep sense of satisfaction. I clenched my fists to suppress the smile tugging at my lips. From the corner of my eye, I saw Hu Qing frown and look at me disapprovingly. So, he begins to feel pity now, I thought. He never pitied me in the past life. I ignored him and left the hospital room first. Hu Qing followed me. You shouldn't have said that. It will upset junior sister Chu, even after all this time. I could feel his protective stance towards Chu Lin. I forced a smile. Junior sister Chu isn't as she appears on the surface. Hearing my words, a fleeting tenderness crossed Hu Qing's eyes as he recalled Chu Lin's strong demeanor while asking the doctor to change her dressing. Yes, she has perseverance, can endure hardship. Such girls are rare these days. How ironic. In my previous life, during my hospital stay, Chu Lin visited me with a gift. She stood by my bed, tears falling like pearls. And it just so happened that Hu Qing saw this. After she left, Hu Qing said to me, Junior sister Chu is quite sensible, not quite what her appearance would suggest. That year, he was a senior, although it was time to hand over the presidency of the student council to the next generation. He fought against the opinions of others and held on to the position until graduation. Later, I realized it was because Chu Lin was a member of the school's publicity department. And a retiring president shouldn't frequently meet with members. From that moment, I started noticing that Hu Qing treated Chu Lin differently from others. I began to stir up trouble, successfully becoming a catalyst that strengthened their relationship. I stared blankly at Hu Qing. Hu Qing, you're a senior now. Are you still planning to stay in the student council? Hu Qing's eyes quickly darted away, then regained composure. His dark eyebrows furrowed, clearly displeased. Jiao Jiao. You don't need to test me like this. I have no thoughts about her beyond being classmates. After saying this, he angrily got into his car and drove off. The car disappeared into the distance, leaving me alone. I looked up at the foggy sky, laughing until tears came. I hadn't said anything much, just asked if he was going to stay in the student council, and yet, he got so angry. It was nothing more than having plans in his heart and feeling guilty about them. I knew Hu Qing had fallen for Chu Lin again. Hu Qing and I had been betrothed since birth, and I had always considered myself his bride, even thrilled by a kiss in the glasshouse on my 16th birthday. Even if we disregard the bonds formed from childhood, we had been together for 5 years, yet, I couldn't compare to Chu Lin, whom he had only met once. Is this what they call the heroine's halo? If that's the case, I, Yuan Jiao Jiao, am not without self-respect. In my previous life, had my legs not been completely disabled, I wouldn't have clung to him after discovering his love for Chu Lin. Touching my intact legs, my heart quivered slightly. With my legs healthy in this life, could it be that my fate might also change? In this life, my first quarrel with Hu Qing, though it wasn't really a quarrel but rather a cold war, was entirely one-sided on his part. As usual, whenever I detected the slightest unhappiness in him, I would proactively clarify things with him. But now I didn't want to waste the effort. I asked my parents if it would damage the Yuan family's reputation if Hu Qing and I were to break off our engagement someday. My father's thick eyebrows knitted together. If he dares, where would the Hu family be without the support of the Yuan family in the past? I sipped my soup, the smile on my lips tinged with bitterness. Father didn't know that even the greatest favor could only be called upon once, not for a lifetime. In my previous life, when he wanted to break off the engagement, I clung to him desperately, which led Chu Lin to challenge me to a race, betting on who would leave him. I accepted her challenge, and she died in that contest. Since then, Hu Qing hated me. And even though we were married under the coercion of grandfather Hua, he never let me live comfortably, mother said. Huqing is the most gentle among his peers. And my daughter is both beautiful and intelligent, they are bound to have a happy marriage. She didn't know that Huqing might still be gentle now, but after Chu Lin's death, he became cold, indifferent, irritable, and estranged from his kin. 3 years after Chu Lin's death, following my parents, grandfather Hua also passed away. Huqing, unrestrained, vented all his resentment on me. He humiliated me unabashedly at home. Yuan Jiao, are you so lowly that you must tie a man who doesn't love you to your side? Why couldn't it have been you who died back then, in business? Huqing ruthlessly pursued me, the Yuan family's business being gradually swallowed by the Hua Corporation. You used to rely on the Yuan family's power and didn't take Chu Lin seriously. Now, I want to see what you can do without the Yuan family backing you. When Huqing sold the old Yuan family mansion at a low price, he even considered buying the cemetery where my parents were buried to develop an amusement park. At that time, I was already 2 months pregnant and was so upset that I ended up in the hospital several times to save the pregnancy. He stormed into my hospital room with his private doctor, intending to terminate the pregnancy. I knelt on the ground, crying and begging him to spare the child in memory of the Yuan ancestors who once saved the Hua family from disaster. His expression was so calm, as if watching an animal perform, with a cold indifference that had nothing to do with him. If you can keep it, then keep it. How could I keep it? At that time, I was already very weak, even struggling to get out of bed. Huqing left me in a private residence of the Hua family without medical care or professional nursing, only arranging for a mute nanny to provide 1 meal a day. In less than half a month, I lost the baby. That was our first child. Whenever I think of these things, I feel a roaring in my ears and my stomach cramps with nausea. My father sat beside me. Baby, tell your father. Did that Hua boy bully you? My loving father was still there, but I didn't know when white hairs had begun to appear in his thick black hair. My throat was so sore. I managed a faint smile and lied. Dad, Huqing has a good temper. My father noticed my hand trembling as I held the soup spoon, and his gaze grew thoughtful. After a while, he said seriously, baby, just hang in there. Once I finish this project I'm working on, the Yuan family's foundation will be secure. Then, Yuan Hao's daughter won't have to live at the mercy of anyone. The project. My face suddenly turned pale. In my previous life, it was this project that began the slow decline of the Yuan family. Huqing and I had been cold to each other for 5 days, something that had never happened before. Our mutual friends noticed and tried to get us out together for some fun, but Huqing and I both declined, citing academic reasons. 2 days later, it was Yanlei's birthday. Since we all grew up together in the same circle and our parents knew each other, I couldn't really refuse to attend. I arrived late, and they were already having a great time. Chu Lin was there too, and within a week, she had made her way into the circle. Just like in my previous life, Chu Lin lost a game again, and Yanlei, ever the mischief maker, insisted she choose a man to play the noodle-eating game with her on the spot. Chu Lin, still not fully recovered and in a wheelchair, blushed deeply under everyone's gaze. After much hesitation, just like in her past life, she raised her hand and pointed at Huqing. I stood at the doorway, smiling lightly, unnoticed as the room buzzed with excitement. Huqing hesitated at first and didn't get up immediately, but seeing Chu Lin's eyes redden, he nodded gently in agreement. Each took an end of the noodle in their mouth, and as the noodle grew shorter, their lips drew closer, igniting the atmosphere in the room. Cheers erupted, everyone forgetting that Huqing had a girlfriend. I turned away without looking back. Behind me stood an aunt with an embarrassed expression. Miss Yuan, it's just kids fooling around. Her tone was very cautious, fearful that I might impulsively cause a scene at the young Master Yan's birthday party. She wasn't wrong to worry. In my previous life, I indeed made a scene. I barged into the room with my crutch, slapped Chu Lin, scolded Yanlei, and even pushed the aunt who tried to intervene. I didn't mean to push her, and I didn't know she was Yanlei's aunt from his hometown. Yanlei had lost his mother young and was very close to her. That outburst completely ruined my relationship with Huqing and strained things with Yanlei. At that time, I knew nothing about doing business, only aware that the Hua family owned extensive properties, unmatched in our circle, yet unaware that 1/3 of the Hua family's business relied on the Yan family's connections. The Yan family had a vast and intricate network of relationships. A week after the incident, the major project that was supposed to be a sure thing for my dad fell through. Later on, there was a major upheaval in the Yuan family's business chain. I went to seek help from Yan Lei. But I couldn't even get through the gates of his house. Uncle Yan didn't like me. He forbade Yan Lei from helping me, and even more from getting involved in the matters between Hu Qing and me. Auntie, could you please give this gift to Xiao Lei for me? I won't go in. I smiled as I handed the gift to the auntie, then quietly left. It was as if I had never been there. The next day, Yan Lei made a special trip to see me at school, and we met at a coffee shop outside the campus. Yan Lei arrived first and ordered my favorite, a cherry blossom latte. He first thanked me for the gift I sent him, then delicately said, "Jiao Jiao, I'm sorry, we drank too much last night, don't take it to heart, okay?" Auntie must have told him everything she saw last night. It's fine. My smile remained as I shook my head at him. He sighed in relief. As long as you understand, Hu Qing knows his limits. I heard from my dad that old Mr. Hu met him for tea recently and said that as soon as Hu Qing graduates, he'll formalize the engagement with your family. It should be soon, right? Soon, according to the trajectory of my previous life, it would be next month. But this time, Hu Qing and I won't get engaged. I blinked, pretending not to understand. Really, actually, I think both Hu Qing and I are still young. There's no rush. Besides, each of us belongs to our own families, if not Hu Qing. My marriage partner could be another young man from the capital, or there could even be some changes. Yan Lei paused, lifting his eyes to look at me, a glint of starlight in his gaze. You didn't say that before. When we graduated from high school, I confessed to you that I only liked him, youthful and naive. I thought liking someone meant for a lifetime, but feelings cannot be measured by time. A lifetime is too long, and liking only one person seems too dull. I chuckled. I was just a child back then. Yan Lei seemed a bit agitated. And now, what about now? I stirred my coffee, not answering his question directly. Instead, I gently placed my hand on his. If one day I have a falling out with Hu Qing, you would help me, right? Yan Lei trembled, his ears turning red uncontrollably. He grasped my hand with his other hand, but only briefly, then he quickly let go. Yan Lei met my gaze, nodding firmly. Of course, he looked at my hand on his, pursing his lips. Jiao Jiao, even if you didn't do this, I, and the Yan family behind me, will always be on your side. Yan Lei had liked me since we were young, but I never felt the same, so he always stayed by my side as a friend. Initially, I just considered him a friend, but after he confessed, I avoided him. Then he became good friends with Hu Qing. After pushing away his aunt's issue, he was indeed mad at me for a while, but when he later found out that Hu Qing was with Chu Lin, he came to persuade me to break up with Hu Qing and consider him. At that time, stung by Hu Qing and Chu Lin, I felt that the unattainable is always the most desirable, and so I rejected him. There was never anyone else by his side. Only later did I find out that the Yuan family was suppressed by Hu Qing. He helped me a lot behind his dad's back. The day I died, he was attending a meeting abroad. Just out of the meeting room, he heard the news of my death and vomited blood. He rushed back, wanting to see me one last time. Unfortunately, the plane on his return journey had an accident. My eyes became sour, and my vision gradually blurred. I looked at the blushing big boy in front of me, feeling a bitter sweetness stir within me. Thank you. Seeing the tears welling up in my eyes, Yan Lei panicked. Jiao Jiao, don't cry, don't worry, I'll stand by you. I know you mean well, but your father. Yan Lei lifted his chin proudly. My dad, the big romantic, listens to everything I say. Uncle Yan truly is a rare romantic in our circle. Yan Lei's mom passed away from complications during childbirth, and Uncle Yan raised him single-handedly without remarrying. In this life, I haven't caused Yan Lei's aunt to be hospitalized, the Yuan family hasn't fallen into ruin, and my reputation is still intact. Uncle Yan should help my family. Seeing my worried look, Yan Lei quickly raised his hand, swearing an oath. Don't worry, I'll make sure my dad helps when I get back. His smile broadened, his eyes twinkling like stars. That promise was all I needed. It's well known in the capital that the men of the Yan family keep their word. Sorry, Yan Lei, for using you first. In return, I will definitely change your fate. I reached out and tugged at his sleeve, curving my lips into a graceful arc. Go back now. And remember not to let anyone know. Yan Lei touched my hair lightly with his hand and grinned. I understand. As the car disappeared around the corner, I moved forward a few steps to a black van parked nearby. Using the closed windows as a mirror, I examined my appearance. With reddened eyes and a flushed nose, I looked both innocent and pitiable. It turns out this could work too. In my past life, I disdained Chu Lin's facade of being strong in front of others but weepy behind them. Now I find myself acting just like her. I dropped the pitiable facade and walked towards the school with a serene face. 11. Inside the black van, who, the assistant in the driver's seat, dared not make a sound. Hu Cheng's dark eyes were fixed in the direction of the school gate. He had originally promised Chu Lin to take her for a checkup today, but coincidentally, as the car reached the school gate, he saw Yuan Jiaojiao entering a cafe by the roadside. She had been there for half an hour since her appearance. The tinted car windows shielded the inside from view, but from inside, the actions and expressions of those outside were clear. His girlfriend secretly meeting with a brother. Hu Cheng scoffed coldly, feeling the irony. He had been feeling guilty, avoiding getting too close to Chu Lin. It turned out Yuan Jiaojiao had gotten close with Yan Lei first. No wonder she was less clingy than before, dismissive in her messages, and unresponsive to calls. This was for the better. He didn't need to feel guilty anymore. Hu Cheng's lips twitched. He took a deep breath, trying to suppress the unease in his heart, but it was to no avail. Just then, Chu Lin slowly emerged from the school gate. She was dressed beautifully in a mint green dress, revealing her slender legs. Her pretty face lit up brightly at the sight of him. The bright sunlight added a touch of wildness to her. Hu Cheng watched the girl not far away, narrowing his eyes. Before coming, he had asked his assistant to drive the company car to avoid being recognized. Thinking of the intimate behavior between Yuan Jiaojiao and Yan Lei earlier, he suddenly didn't want to hide anymore. Let everyone see. Hu Cheng pushed open the car door and stepped out. 12. That evening, Dad announced that the project was finalized. With Uncle Yan's connections, it was settled over a dinner. I called Yan Lei to thank him, but he hung up. 3 seconds later, he video called me from the gym. The person in the camera's lens has fair skin dotted with fine beads of sweat, and bright red lips. It makes one's heart skip a beat. I called to thank you. Did I disturb you? The man paused mid-action, his bright eyes intently staring over. Do you still need to say thank you to me? At those words, I pursed my lips and remained silent. Seeing that I made no comment, Yan Lei coughed. I don't mean to rush you. Take your time. I won't mention it to Hu Cheng. Anyway, I'm fine with it. It's just that sometimes I want to see you, but I'm afraid to seek you out. After all, it's not officially acknowledged, and it could lead to gossip. After he finished speaking, he moved the phone slightly away. He lifted his shirt hem and wiped the sweat from his face. In doing so, he revealed a clear set of abs, so striking that it was hard to look away. Honestly, Yan Lei has a better physique than Hu Cheng. I swallowed and shifted my gaze away lightly. As for Hu Cheng, I'll handle it as soon as I can, but maybe I'll need your help again. Is that okay? The man in the video looked at me and grinned with a flash of his teeth. Happy to help. That evening, someone captured a photo of senior Hu Cheng from senior year picking up a junior girl in his car. I remained indifferent, continuing with my usual routine of classes, library, and dorm. A kind classmate came to warn me, but I only responded, I believe Hu Cheng isn't like that. And although I haven't met Junior Chu personally, I've heard from other friends that she might seem unapproachable, but she's actually very nice. The person hesitated to speak further, then just shook their head and left. Later, rumors spread that Chu Lin and I were close friends and that Hu Cheng picking her up was at my request. My roommate saw this and scoffed. Who would want to be friends with that kind of person? I don't know who started that rumor. Who else but Chu Lin herself? Trying to snatch Hu Cheng and step on me to gain a good reputation, playing both sides. That's the heroine for you. Let her take Hu Cheng if she wants, but I absolutely won't allow her to step on me to climb higher. A week after Yan Lei's birthday, a video of Hu Cheng and Chu Lin playing a game was posted on the school's forum. Overnight, the way people looked at me changed from mere disappointment to sympathy and indignation. In a previous life, Hu Cheng told me it was just a game and not to take it to heart. But was it really just a game? I skipped class with my roommate Tang Tang and bought a bunch of snacks. When we reached the student union, they told me Hu Cheng was in the office, carrying a lot of stuff. 2 classmates volunteered to help carry it up. Just as we reached the president's office door, we heard voices inside. I didn't know any of the people there at the time. Except you a bit. I didn't expect it to be misunderstood. I'll go to Yuan's dorm later to explain, and I'll clarify on the forum too. Hu Cheng leaned on the desk, facing the window, with the female voice falling into his ears as he rotated his wristwatch. His tone was emotionless. No need, let them talk. Chu Lin was silent for a while, her tone aggrieved. I'm sorry, I didn't know you had a girlfriend. Hearing this, Tang Tang couldn't hold back anymore. thrusting the snacks into the arms of a classmate behind her. She kicked open the door and pointed at Chu Lin, erupting in anger. Give me a break. Who in the school doesn't know Jiao Jiao and Hu Qing are a couple? Their photos have always been pinned at the top of the school forum, and last year in the school's promotional video they were even holding hands on camera. If you're blind you should at least have ears. During the school anniversary, when Hu Qing was hosting, the girls were shouting Jiao Jiao's name so loud they almost broke their throats. Are you deaf? Even if you are blind and deaf, wouldn't you ask if someone has a partner before playing flirty games with them? The other members of the student union who had come up laughed. Their looks toward Chu Lin were full of disdain. Chu Lin, suddenly exposed. Her face flushed red, instinctively looked towards Hu Qing. Hu Qing looked deeply at me. Why did you come today? Not yesterday, not the day before, but today. She probably thought I was disrupting her plans. Chu Lin slightly curled her lips, lifted her chin proudly, and looked at me with a hint of triumph. Before coming here, I thought these two would deny everything to the end, but I didn't expect Hu Qing to be so careless. He even openly showed his disdain. I lowered my head. Feeling a bit amused, my shoulders shook slightly, and it took me a moment to suppress my laughter before I looked up again. Can't I come? My voice was calm, but there was a choke in my tone. To others, it must have seemed like the ultimate grievance. Why is Senior Hu Qing like this? I heard he and Jiao Jiao are even planning to get engaged. That's so blatant, totally irresponsible. Although I look somewhat delicate, I am strong-willed and never show weakness in front of others. Even Hu Qing was taken aback for a moment. He had never seen me like this before. He gradually frowned, seemingly unsure how to handle the situation. In truth, I didn't want to hear his explanations. I just wanted to get this drama over with. My tears were almost ready to fall. I'm leaving. I bit my lip, giving Hu Qing a mournful look. The tears I had prepared started to fall in front of everyone. Then, taking Tang Tang by the hand, I turned to leave, but I was stopped by a student council member. Senior Yuan, don't go. The one who should leave isn't you. Yeah, some people are too much. They need to figure out their place. Don't get too arrogant with a 2+1 attitude. Just stop being disgusting. The murmurs grew louder. Chu Lin's chest heaved with anger as she stood up, fists clenched. Yuan Jiao Jiao, stop playing the victim. Was it you who posted that video on the forum last time? You even went to the hospital to mock my disability, and now you're here staging this drama for whom? I couldn't help but smile internally. That was the right approach. These were the lines from my past life. Back then, I stormed in here alone, wanting to confront Chu Lin about whether she was the one who leaked that night's video, only to see her crying in Hu Qing's arms. Furious, I lost my temper again, seen by people from the student council who came to deliver something. Chu Lin played the innocent victim and started crying about leaving, which led others to accuse me of throwing a tantrum at the student council, ruining my reputation at school from then on. This time, I just went downstairs first, brought some snacks for the students in a meeting, and when they cautiously asked me if I had seen the forum, I confidently and openly expressed my trust in Hu Qing and Chu Lin. It was somewhat similar to what Chu Lin said in my previous life. I believe Senior Yuan didn't mean to do it. She just loves Senior Hu Qing too much and can't control her temper. Right, Chu Lin, have you gone mad? Who would post such an embarrassing video online for others to see? Why are you snapping like a dog? As I walked downstairs with Tang Tang, I could hear Chu Lin's tearful sobs behind me. Why are you all treating me this way? I clearly haven't done anything wrong. My roommate was so angry she gritted her teeth. I really want to slap this idiot. I patted her on the shoulder, telling her to relax. Stepping out of the main building, a gentle breeze and the bright sunlight made me look up at the blue sky and smile contentedly. My roommate puzzled. How can you still smile after all this? Because I won. From the visit to the hospital, I had deliberately provoked Chu Lin to make her angry. As the art of war states, agitate them and tire them. If your opponent makes you angry, you're likely to lose. In my previous life, Chu Lin agitated me first, causing me to lose my composure and rhythm, and I kept losing to her. This life, I started by agitating her first. I won the first round, and now, by agitating her again, I've won another round. I won. I will keep on winning. Suddenly, a wave of panic surged in Hu Qing's heart as he stood up straight in the office. Just as he was about to follow someone out the door, Chu Lin grabbed his arm. Senior, could you please speak for me? I didn't do it. Hu Qing lowered his head to look at Chu Lin, who was crying pitifully, and suddenly felt a sharp pain in his stomach. Hu Qing was hospitalized. His classmates from the student council sent him there, acute gastritis. He posted a message on his social circle. Soon, all his close friends rushed over. When everyone arrived, they found only Huiqing and Chu Lin in the hospital room. They all laughed. They were about to tease them, but Huiqing glanced behind them. A trace of disappointment flickered in his eyes. Is it just you guys? Everyone was startled. Within their circle, they were the closest. If anyone else was to be mentioned, it would only be Yuan Jiaojiao and Yan Lei. With Chu Lin there, it wouldn't be appropriate for Yuan Jiaojiao to come. Someone guessed he was asking about Yan Lei. Yan Lei has been busy lately. Whenever we call him out, he always says he's busy. Busy, of course, he's busy. Busy dating, such a couple. Huiqing's expression grew colder and colder, seeing that the atmosphere had turned tense. Everyone dared not speak further. Only Chu Lin, a bit bolder, poured a glass of water for Huiqing. Huiqing took it, then coldly pointed at one of the guys. Call Yan Lei. That guy did as told and put Yan Lei on speakerphone. As soon as the call connected, heavy breathing sounds that could lead to wild guesses were heard. Bang! Huiqing slammed the glass down onto the floor. Ah! Splashes of water and shards of glass scattered everywhere. Chu Lin screamed in fright. Everyone was silent. Not knowing why Huiqing was so angry, and too scared to speak, the breathing from the phone continued. Huiqing shouted into the phone, Yan Lei, what are you doing? Who's with you? The sound of a treadmill stopped, and from the phone, Yan Lei's chuckling voice emerged. Huiqing, why the rush? Just running. Who did you think was with me? At this hour, that lady who let out a cry. Who is she? His tone was lazy, but each word struck deep into Huiqing's heart. And those who were initially clueless began to grasp something. Did Huiqing think Yan Lei was up to something? But even if he was, what did it have to do with him? Why was he so anxious? The next day, the story Chu Lin has no shame, a real vixen, exploded across the social networks. Everyone knew that Chu Lin shamelessly interfered with Yuan Jiaojiao and Huiqing's relationship. Huiqing was not much better, openly displaying affection with his mistress in the student council. Chu Lin and Huiqing's reputations were completely ruined at the school. Meanwhile, Yuan Jiaojiao seemed to have given up. Previously, she kept her distance from other men because of Huiqing, but now she was frequently seen with Yan Lei, the heartthrob from the neighboring university. Those in the circle sensed the real story. Huiqing was angry because he knew Yan Lei and Yuan Jiaojiao had gotten together, but he had found someone else too. Huiqing had someone call Yuan Jiaojiao. Reluctantly, the person dialed her number. Compelled by Huiqing's chilling demeanor, the call connected slowly. What is it? A man's voice came through. The temperature in the room seemed to drop below zero. They knew that voice all too well. Huiqing forced a smile, flames nearly shooting from his eyes. Yan Lei, why do you have Yuan Jiaojiao's phone? A laugh came from the other end of the line. Huiqing, not only is the phone with me, but she is here with me too. Huiqing's veins throbbed at his temples. He snatched the phone and smashed it violently against the wall. Yan Lei would visit me every now and then. He's a student from the university next door and comes to our school to play basketball. You're 20 minutes later than yesterday. Yan Lei, dressed in a loose blue basketball jersey, ran over to me. Lately, I don't know what's gotten into him. He often stops halfway through the game to have me bring him water. Even though there's bottled water available at the basketball court, he refuses to drink it, insisting instead that I make him herbal tea, claiming it's for health reasons. I handed him the kettle with a faint smile, explaining, the water dispenser was broken, so I borrowed some hot water from the dorm supervisor. He huffed, picked up a bottle of mineral water from the ground, opened it, and handed it to me before taking the kettle from me, pouring half a cup, and mixing it with half a cup of mineral water before gulping it down. Sweat soaked through the back of his jersey, and with each breath he took, the logo on the front of his team uniform rose and fell. The setting sun sharply and deeply cut the contours of his profile. There were many tall guys with broad shoulders and narrow hips on the court, but Yan Lei stood out the most. It made my throat itch just looking at him, and I casually turned my gaze away. The next second, my head was turned back. Miss Yuan, what strange thing are you looking at? Is it more interesting than me? When Yan Lei lowered his head, his eyelids drooped, giving off a despondent and pitiful vibe, much like the Labrador on my roommate's wallpaper. I couldn't help myself and touched his fluffy, curly hair. Yan Lei's face immediately turned red, and he growled quietly, what are you doing? You can't just touch a man's hair like that. Oh, but I already did. I pursed my lips and smiled at him. Sorry, I'll do it again next time. Forget it, but don't make it a habit. He took a big gulp. one hand holding my thermos, the other pulling on my arm. I'm so hungry, treat me to a meal. I really should treat him, considering I owe him a big favor. I smiled and was about to get up when a basketball came flying straight at me. I was frozen in place, terrified, as a dark shadow approached, lightning flashed and thunder roared, and a large hand caught it, slamming it back. Yan Lei shielded me behind him and yelled, "Huiqing, what are you doing?" Huiqing had arrived at some point. Without Chu Lin by his side, he often played basketball, but each department had its own court, and he seldom came to ours. Huiqing wasn't in his basketball jersey but wore a simple jacket, sweatpants, and sneakers. Looking like he had just finished class, I always felt. He looked up at Yan Lei, his lips gradually straightening into a line. Sorry, it slipped. Both of their faces turned cold, creating a tense standoff. The air seemed to be filled with the smell of gunpowder. Yan Lei, I tugged at his arm, and he looked down at me in surprise. I'm hungry, let's go. I smiled at him. He stared at me for a couple of seconds, then pursed his lips. What do you want to eat? What do you feel like eating? Are you really treating me? Yeah, no, don't. I can't accept a girl taking me out for a meal. Under the setting sun, we walked side by side out of the basketball court, neither of us giving Huiqing another glance. Huiqing stood rigidly in place, everything around him receding at an unusual pace. All he could see were the fading figures of the two of us, so near yet so far. The dimming sunlight stretched his shadow long. Perhaps even he hadn't noticed. But his fingers hanging by his side were trembling slightly. When Huiqing called me, I was washing my hair and couldn't answer. By the time I dried my hands and tried to pick up, the call had ended. I didn't call back and rushed off to class instead. Unexpectedly, Huiqing was waiting for me in my classroom. Seeing someone secretly taking photos with their phone, I was on edge. It was a large class that lasted all afternoon. Attending class under the watchful eyes of everyone was uncomfortable, according to the plot. At this time, Huiqing should have been getting along well with Chu Lin. Why did he come here? Is there something you need? I asked quietly, turning my face to the side. I'm here to accompany you in class, Huiqing replied without looking up, seemingly oblivious to the stares of others, his eyes fixed on the book he brought. With our current relationship, that's really not necessary. Everyone knows we had a falling out. Huiqing slightly lifted his eyelids, his gaze deep and unreadable. What relationship do we have? If I remember correctly, you are my girlfriend. It's surprising he still remembers that I am his girlfriend. He didn't seem to remember that when he was playing games with Chu Lin. I gave a faint smile. We broke up a long time ago, did we? He flipped through his book, not looking up. I don't recall that. I bit my lip, puzzled by his thinking. Fine. We're breaking up now. Make sure you remember this time. Huiqing closed his book, looking up with a hint of melancholy in his eyes. I only remember that the Hua and Yuan families had arranged a marriage between us since we were children. Breaking up with Huiqing wasn't going to settle the arranged marriage. When Huiqing left, he said, "Grandfather wants you to come over for dinner on Sunday evening, in a past life." It was at this dinner that Grandfather Hua asked me if getting engaged to Huiqing next month was too rushed. At that time, my disagreements with Huiqing had escalated, and unable to endure the humiliation, I complained to Grandfather Hua about him. I told him about Huiqing's involvement with a girl of humble origins. Grandfather Hua, who values social status, struck Huiqing and even talked about setting things straight with Chu Lin. Under pressure, Huiqing agreed to the engagement. But the engagement party never happened, because the night before the engagement, he deliberately soaked himself in ice water all night and ended up in the hospital. To avoid marrying me, he was even willing to risk his life. This time, when Grandfather Hua asked, I planned to refuse directly, but I didn't expect Huiqing to agree before I could speak. Even though Grandfather Hua was asking me, he interrupted, "Grandfather, Jia won't mind, we've been together for so long." Before coming here, I had already discussed it with my parents. They were also aware of Huiqing and Chu Lin's situation, yet now, seeing Huiqing still wanting to go ahead with the engagement, my father was furious, with eyes full of anger fixed on Huiqing, who was calmly having his soup. He restrained his rage and said lightly, "Let's not discuss the engagement for now. Jia is still young, and her mother and I would like to keep her with us for a few more years. Times have changed, and there's no longer any need for equal social standing in marriages. If Shaochen truly likes that girl, he should bring her over for Grandpa to meet." I didn't expect my father to be so direct, which made Huiqing suddenly look up. Instead of looking at Grandpa Hua, he looked at me in disbelief. He hadn't expected me to tell my parents about it. He thought at most I would be upset with him, but that we would still get married. After all, I loved him so much. He was too confident. Grandpa found out and decided to enforce the family discipline. Huiqing couldn't escape a beating, but this time, without my insistence, the marriage was called off. My relationship with Huiqing was officially over. That night, I posted on my social circle, once wished for us, now wishing for you and me. Many friends privately messaged me asking what happened. I simply replied, we broke up. There was no need to explain further. They all knew about Huiqing's heated affair with a girl outside our circle. The Yuan family and Yuan Jiaojiao were not at fault. I watched the drama unfold like an outsider. In this life, I was a perfect victim. Huiqing and Chu Lin stood at the lowest moral point. Only one person liked that post in my social circle. It was Yan Lei. At midnight, he called me. Want to go see the sunrise? Sure. I put on my prettiest dress. Quietly, I ran downstairs and got into Yan Lei's car. The air conditioning was on, and he handed me a blanket with a flushed face. It'll take an hour and a half to get there. You should sleep a bit. I took the blanket, looked at him for a while. Why is your face red? Is it? I blinked. Come closer. Let me see. He pursed his lips, came closer. His face got even redder. I moved closer. Our lips touched. The touch and temperature just right. Sorry, I wanted a kiss. Is that it? What else did you have in mind? His eyes deepened, a faint blush in his glance. I licked my lips unconsciously. The strong scent of masculinity hit me. The heat of his lips, his solid body. Yan Lei was skilled. A tingling sensation spread as fireworks exploded in the distance. I was lost in the splendor. The sunrise was beautiful. As the sun rose from the horizon, Yan Lei took a photo of me and posted it on his social circle. Caption, lover. The comment section exploded. Are you guys together now? So early in the morning, you were together last night. I zoomed in on Jiao Jiao's neck. I leaned on Yan Lei, laughing uncontrollably at the comments. I had never experienced this feeling of being declared before. I saw Yan Lei replying to everyone. Finally got the chance, of course. I had to secure it early. I turned my head. The man beside me staring at his phone with a victorious smile. The sunlight made his face look stunning. After almost a sleepless night, I caught up on some sleep the next morning. It was pouring outside. The maid hesitated as she pointed downstairs. Master Hua has been here for a long time. Miss, be careful. I always feel that Master Hua is a bit strange. The moment I saw Huiqing, I understood what the maid meant by a bit strange. In just one night, he seemed like a completely different person. He was sitting on the sofa when he heard a noise and looked up. His usually cold and indifferent eyes were like two bottomless black holes. My heart skipped a beat. The man in front of me was a spitting image of the one 10 years later, full of hatred and brooding. I was certain that Huiqing had also returned, and when he saw the marks on my neck, his eyes suddenly turned bloodshot. A bad premonition washed over me. The next second, Huiqing rushed at me like a madman. He grabbed my neck with both hands. Yuan Jiaojiao, who allowed you to be with Yan Lei? I tried to pry his hands off, but it was useless. The disparity in strength between men and women left me powerless to fight back. As I began to suffocate, I saw my aunt try to pull Huiqing away, but he pushed her aside with one hand. Yuan Jiaojiao, you belong to me, in past lives and in this one too. Don't even think about leaving me. His eyes were blood red. And he was clearly not in his right mind. The air in my lungs was slowly escaping. I felt like I was going to die. Is this my fate? Even reborn as a supporting character, I'm doomed to die at the hands of the protagonist. My vision started to blur, and my consciousness began to fade. Suddenly, a figure appeared and pulled Huiqing away. The pressure on my neck was gone, and I collapsed to the ground, gasping for air. Yan Lei pinned Huiqing to the ground. Cough, cough, cough. Don't hit him. Just call the police. Huiqing was taken away directly. The house was equipped with cameras, and his actions were caught, constituting intentional harm. Because the injuries were not severe, he was sentenced to only a year and a half, but that was enough for me. Huiqing was indeed exceptional, but the Hua family has other grandsons. The Hua family wouldn't want an heir with a criminal record. He was now out of the running for the inheritance, after Huiqing was incarcerated. I kept tabs on Chu Lin, finding her close with another wealthy young man in the circle, though he wasn't as blindly romantic as Huiqing. Perhaps it was because of Huiqing's precedent. Initially, the man had genuine feelings for her, but he didn't let it affect his decisions regarding arranged marriages and education. Chu Lin followed him for a while but was eventually dumped, unsatisfied. She went to his family's home and was humiliated. On the way back, she was in a car accident. She ended up with the same fate she had before. She clearly had other paths to take, to leave and start anew. Unfortunately, she hadn't been reborn and didn't know that this world was just a tragic novel, or perhaps, the current developments are just a new novel. But what does it matter? What's real and what's not? Who can truly say? Yen Lei's social media updates weren't hidden from elders. Uncle Yen saw them. And so did my parents. A week later, the Yan and Yuan family